Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing? How is everybody doing? Hit the like button. I see some of you are already here. Jakari, Jabali, Babu, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining the stream. Dati Vinal, thank you so much. I appreciate. Hit the like button as you're coming in. Today we're going to have another amazing conversation with someone you probably know. Some of you could be knowing her. And for those of you who don't know her, we'll be getting her on screen to introduce herself so that you can get to know her. Hit the like button as you're coming in. Also, let me know where you are joining us from. And share out the stream, share the stream so you can have as many people as possible participating. I see 33 people in the stream already. Thank you so much for joining. Hit the like button, hit the like button as you're coming. 34 people in the stream. Let's give it some 30 seconds. In the meantime, just drop a message. Let us know where you are joining me from. Hi, African Superstar. Hi, Thunder. How are you doing? Hi, Tiders. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining the stream. And hit the like button. Hello, dear. I'm from India. Hit that like button as you're coming in. Hit the like button as you are coming in. So without wasting so much time, let me get our guest on screen so I can start the conversation. So, hi,
Hey
Juliet.
sis,
How
how
are
are you
you
African
doing?
Tigress?
I'm good. What about you?
Thank you for inviting me onto your show.
You're always welcome. Always welcome.
Thank
So you
you,
can
thank you, thank you
introduce
so much.
yourself. For those who don't know you, you can
Mm,
introduce yourself. Introduce yourself for those who don't know
okay.
you.
Oh, so greetings to everybody on African Tigress's show on YouTube. My name is Juliet, and my African name is Nyanko Mandina, and I'm part of Blaxit family. And Blaxit is also a channel here on YouTube. Blaxit is about our exodus from England. And well, it's our exodus full stop from the West. It's about Black people coming out of white countries and relocating, repatriating to the motherland, which is something that we've done. We've come back and we purchased our land back in 2015 and we built our house and we established our life here in Africa. And we realized what a humongous difference living on the continent, living at home, living in the motherland, living with your brothers and sisters makes to every aspect of your being, from your mental health to your physical health to your happiness and your wealth. And you know, in every excuse me, Kath, I'm live on. In every which way, it has been enriched. So, and we have gone from strength to strength. We charted our journey, and I was fortunate enough to meet Woda Maya. And Woda Maya, because my brother arranged an interview, he basically, you can't do this here right now, sorry, it's making too much noise. Basically interviews me, and then, yeah, the interview went viral.
Yeah.
In which I called England a dump. And
Mm-hmm.
so many people saw that video and shared the video. And so as a result of that, Woda Maya helped me to set up my own channel on YouTube. And I've really been going as much as I can around the continent and showing and sharing about the continent with as many people as I can, because I feel that we've been duped, we've been deceived, we've been misled intentionally about what Africa really is and how beautiful Africa really is and how developed Africa really is. So, you know, they've been showing us images 30, 40 years old and going to the worst parts of Africa and trying to pretend that is a representation of all of Africa, which is not. So we're here to dispel those myths. to take you on the journey, and also to help you to repatriate. So we do actual hands-on work. We help you to find land, help you to build, and helping you to find your space, find yourself again. And you can't do that in the West. You can only do that at home.
Okay, for those who might not be knowing this, maybe you can tell us briefly. You just mentioned that you bought your land in the Gambia in 2015.
Yes.
How did you get to that point of deciding now that Gambia is the first country I'm going to, or Gambia is the country that I'm going to stay to? Why not Kenya?
Okay, it's funny that you should say that. Yeah, it's funny that you should say that, because my daughter actually went to Kenya, and in fact, I was supposed to go to Ghana, but a number of different circumstances played out, so we didn't actually end up going. But I have been to different African countries before that. But when I arrived in Africa, I think it was a combination of two things. Firstly, I'm sure my grandma had told me that we were Gambians. So somewhere in my subconscious, it kept playing out that this was home to me. Secondly, when I arrived and I saw people who looked exactly like my grandma's family, I realized that, that there was a connection there. And so that was really important. And it was the same in Sierra Leone. So far as Kenya's concerned, there's definitely on my bucket list. And I'm definitely going to go. There's no doubt about it. My daughter made a video of her journey there and her stay there, and it was incredible. So I definitely am coming to Kenya. So it wasn't an if or why or where. It was just that when I arrived, my spirit said I'm home. And so I followed my spirit. I let my spirit be my guide. My ancestors, they guided me home. So I'm home.
So I know a number of people that are on this platform a lot of times want to move and all that. But before we go to that advice, was that your first time? Was 2015 the first time that you came? And after you came, have you ever gone back?
No, the first time I came actually was in 2011. Yeah. The first time I came to the Gambia was 2011. The first time I went to Africa was when I was 22. So don't want to give my age away, but let's just say that was over 27 years ago, something like that. So that was the first time I actually came to Africa, was when I was 22. And so, that was a mind-blowing experience for me. I got to, let me turn this off, sorry. I got to understand that, that Africa wasn't as they made it out to be. And so, I think that was an important part of the learning. Sorry, I'll just fix my phone. The learning curve for me. So it just is mind blowing. Africa is mind blowing. The beauty is like, I can't describe it as anything else other than absolutely paradise. To me, it's like paradise. If I was to describe paradise, I would describe Africa, whether I'm in Mauritius or, whether I'm in Egypt, or it just doesn't matter. Just throw a pin and you'll find beauty, and you'll find peace. And I think it's about that inner peace that you get. And not only that, I think when you've been raised in a very racist society, you need somewhere else to go. You just have to. You can't leave it to chance. So knowing that, one of the most important aspects for me of getting out was to make sure I had somewhere to go to. And so buying my piece of land, and I bought more than one, I bought 3 in fact, that was very important to me. So I would have a legacy for my children as well.
Okay, and what in particular inspired you? Was it just getting here and loving it that you decided that, oh, I'm now going to make that permanent move? And at what point, is 2015 the time that you made that permanent move from the UK?
No, we were coming back and forth until 2019. And it was February 2019 that we packed everything up you know, by this time, both of my sons had gone through terrible, terrible racism. And my youngest son had literally, you know, cried himself into hysteria, you know, one morning. And he just kept saying he wants to go home. He doesn't want to be there anymore. So, you know, you've got to listen to, you know, the children know. And so, you know, knowing that, I didn't want to keep my son in a situation where he was desperately unhappy. It's not fair on him. And it's just not fair on any of us. You know, look at what's happening in America now. None of this, you know, is new. This is old hat, and it's, you know, it's being revised and repeated, revised and repeated, revised and repeated. And the only way, like I said, the only way to eradicate racism is to leave it behind and go live with your own kind. You know, this is my mantra, and I'll repeat it over and over again because it's true.
Okay.
So yeah, coming back here was great for me, for us.
Someone is asking, someone is saying, sorry, Juliet, what happened to your kids?
Yeah, well, my youngest is with me, so he's here in school. My other children are old. So making decisions for their own, they have their house, you know, and their education and so on. So my middle child wanted to continue his education. So he's with my mum and my sister and my daughter, sorry. And, you know, he's completing that, and then he'll be coming here. So he's here. He comes and he visits and he stays, and then he goes back, and then, so he's back and forth. But my youngest is here permanently with us. And my eldest one, she's tied into a large contract. She's 29 years old. She's grown, yeah. But she does come, and she definitely, you know, has realised that she knows that England is not going to be her final destination.
Was it a hard decision to make? Like
Incredibly.
when you decided as a family, now you're telling your kids that so for now we are actually going to be moving from the UK and we're going to be staying in the Gambia. How was that moment?
Heartbreaking. As a mom, it's one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make. But I knew it was the right decision to make. And sometimes you have to make those sacrifices. And I knew something bad was coming. I intuitively knew. And I kept telling my children, you know, things are going to change and you might get locked in. Anything could happen. You know, I just felt that something bad was happening. But, you know, you can't use your intuition as, you know, proof. Well, what's going to happen, Mum? I don't know, but it's bad and I can feel it. And I just feel that it's going to keep us separated, and I need you to come with me. But Mum, I want to finish. I've got a contract. I can't leave. I've got a mortgage, you know. And so these are the things that tie us in and tie us down. And, you know, I woke up one morning and I said to my husband, we're putting the house in the market and we're going, and that's it.
And,
you know, we didn't have much equity or anything in there.
How did your husband react to that?
Well, at first he was not as enthusiastic as I was. I was very enthusiastic, and I just wanted to go now, just going now. And he was like, Juliet, let's think this through. Let's plan it. Let's, you know, let's go through it, because it was always something that I wanted to do. From the first time I came here and I had to leave here, I cried and I cried and I cried so much. Because I just, you know, I didn't want to live there anymore. I found my home. What am I going back to? What for? And so I was inconsolable. Where's my husband now? You know, he comes from the Caribbean. And so, you know, when you come from the Caribbean and you go to England, it's like you've made it, you know? So why would you want to go to Africa? But because he shared the same passion with me about Africa, and also because he was very familiar with African life because he comes from Montserrat. So it was an easy transition for him to make. So the only concerns he had was financial, because we didn't have much equity in the house. We'd only lived there for a few years. And so he was more concerned about finances. And I told him, don't worry, you know, whatever's going to happen is going to happen, but we're going to land, we're going to build our house, we're going to, you know, ever the optimist, we're going to make it, you know, it doesn't matter what happens, we're going to make it happen. And, you know, so said, so done.
All right. And what about your extended family, your mom, maybe your sisters and all that? How did they take it?
Yeah, I mean, they were cool. We had a massive leaving do. My mum's been here. Let me tell you, my children visit. So the gap isn't that wide because they also love coming here. And, you know, my mum is like a diehard Jamaican. You know, when she was here, a man said to her, oh, look, you know, welcome home, you're African. And my mum turned around and said, I'm Jamaican, you know, and so it was like, oh, a little bit embarrassing, but your daughter is African. Yeah, your daughter is African. I do not understand. Like, and I said, no, she African born in Jamaica. My mom looked like, I said, no, she African born in Jamaica. Don't listen to her. She don't know. So, you know, I kind of get my conscious side and my African awareness from very much from my dad's side, because, you know, the old school generation kind of attachment to the plantation, you know, is very much alive and well in the older generation. And so, you know, many Jamaicans I speak to now who are born in Jamaica say they're an African born in Jamaica. Many people are saying that, you know, I'm an African born in England. I'm an African born in America. I'm an African born in Italy, an African born in France. And so that consciousness is now, you know, coming to be our reality. So at first it was a little bit of a struggle, but what I did was I held it to myself, because I knew that, you know, some people are still brainwashed by listening to the white media. Yeah, and stupefied by the white media and beguiled by the white media. So because I knew that, I left my leaving do. Thank goodness for Levi Roots. He's a wonderful, wonderful business mentor that I had. At the time, he had a restaurant in Westfields, and he let us have the whole restaurant for our leaving do. And so it was at that time we announced that we're going on Monday. That was on the Thursday. So, yeah, people didn't really have much time to dissuade me. It was like, I'm going on Monday. I'll see you later. Bye. Yeah. And I think that was the best method, because unfortunately, many people haven't come here and they don't, you know, they don't feel, you know, the country. And then we have the old school conditioning, you know. I could never have the same attachment to England as my mum has to Jamaica. I could never have it, regardless of whether I lived there, regardless of where a lot of my family lived there. I don't have that same attachment to England in that way. And I don't have the patriotism either. You know, please forgive me, Andrew Holness, but it's the truth. And forgive me, my Jamaican family, it's the truth. I feel African, and when I'm here, I fit in African society. I don't fit on the plantation, and I don't fit in a slave master's house or slave owner's house, which is what England is, which is what Europe is, which is what America is. And the Caribbean is just a plantation. It always was, and it always will be, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, kindly get the lights up. We have a number of people here in the stream.
I'm really sorry, 1 second. I'm going to have to retouch the sound because I put not to disturb, but people are calling. It's going to redo the sound. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. So kindly let's get
I can't hear you though. Age, can you help me with this? 1 second, sis, 1 second.
All right. Yeah, let's get the lights up.
The sound, it's the sound.
Let's
1
get
second, I'm just trying to fix it.
Okay.
1 second.
Hit the like button. Gregory Watts, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Hit the like button. We have over 130 people in the stream. So go ahead, hit the like button. Let's have at least 130 likes as Juliet is sorting this out. I see a lot of questions. Shabani, I see your question. I'm noting down the question.
Someone called through. I don't know how to get them to stop calling through.
Through seeing videos, I had no idea Kenya, Rwanda, etc. were lush and green as they are all over. There are many jewels
No, this one doesn't have
discovered.
it. This
Sure,
one doesn't
sure.
have it. It's the other
Nobody
phone that has it.
controls you in
The other phone doesn't
Africa.
have it.
Nobody controls you in
No, it
Africa.
doesn't.
So,
The sound has gone again.
can you hear me now? Every time I touch down in Africa, I'm in fear. Sadly, COVID-19 ruined my travel plan.
And it affected the sounds.
French Caribbeans,
Hang on 1 second. I'm going to get
a lot of them moved to in Togo. We have Haitians here in Congo who are here since 1960. Hello, can you hear me? Juliet, I'm Nigerian living in Jamaica. Hello, can you hear me now? I'm not so sure what happened to the audio. Let's give it time. Let's give it time. Keep sending your questions. We're going to be having them back as they are sorting the audio. I switched over to your YouTube live. Thank you so much, Golden Heart. I appreciate. I grew up around Caribbeans in New York City. I'm so happy for the program. The Black Business Builder. To me, the stress we carry every day as Africans when we see police is enough for me to leave America. Hello. Hello, can you hear me now?
That's what I was talking.
I'm not so sure what's happening, but looks like they're having audio issues, but I know they'll be back. Hello? Hello? Maybe if you can hear me, just exit and then come back as I'm taking the questions to. I like the Caribbean, well, some islands. It's way different than the USA. Big Black American in the building. I don't know what's happened because their stream froze. We can't hear Juliet's feed, but we can hear you, Tigress. I'm going to reach out to her so that they can, she can join. Can you hear me now? Hello? I don't know if anyone can hear me. I think maybe they'll have to exit. If you can hear me, exit and join back. I watched your video. Thanks, Juliet. We love you. I'm African born in Jamaica all day. That's true. That's right. Yes, very much ready. Very much ready. Okay. Let me just contact them so that let me contact Juliet so that she can exit the stream and come back.
I'm just going to log back in again and log out again. So bear with me, please, yeah, because the sound's gone.
Okay, cool. All right. All right. I know Juliet is going to be back, so keep your questions coming. Diaspora is ready for Africa. They just don't hear enough from the people on the continent that want them to come. Aaron, please come. Come back home. Come back home. I think over the years, I can see the voices have increased, like the people talking about the diaspora coming back, welcoming the diaspora back home. I mean, if you look at it 10 years ago, probably not as many people could talk about it as it is now. So, yeah, I think a lot of people are actually taking it seriously. Right, we have Juliet back.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Someone called me and then it completely cut out the audio. So I couldn't hear anything.
Oh, so how is it? So I can hear you now. So
yeah, I can hear.
All right. I always come. I'm just being voiced to the diaspora. All right, Aaron, welcome. I hope you come to visit Kenya too. Anyway, Juliet. So when you when you told your sisters, they were like, okay, Juliet, just go, or no, we not come, or don't go. Did you feel like the need to stay, especially with family members?
My middle son. My middle son was a more, mum stay. My daughter was more, go ahead and find a way for us and make a way for us and follow your dreams. So, and when my middle child leaves, when my son leaves, you know, that's very heart-wrenching, because, you know, he's still a teenager. He's not in his 20s yet. So that's hard. But he made a decision, and, you know, it wasn't a decision that I wanted. It was a decision that he wanted, and I had to respect his decision. So you know, I still cry when he has to leave, you know, for a few days.
So how did you feel now? You built a house first. For you built a house in 2015 and moved to the Gambia in 2019. So by that time, your house was already complete.
No. In fact, far from the truth. What actually happened was that we didn't actually start building until the end of April last year. We were very late because I started a shop. And so the shop took up a lot more of my time than I anticipated. Excuse me. Yeah, so the shop took up a lot more of my time than I anticipated. So we were a little bit late with the build. So we didn't start like properly until the end of April, beginning of May. And that was clearing the land and doing the foundations. We hadn't even started to build it. So we had rented a place for a year. And I would advise everybody, come to Africa and look around before you rent. So don't like rent before you get here. You know, book yourself into a week into a hotel, give yourself a chance to have some R&R, and then, you know, and then, hello? And then basically, you know, go and look for somewhere to stay. So you can actually choose the location that suits your needs. So where we stayed was right next to the shop that we rented. It was like 1 minute's walk. You know, the location was great and it wasn't far from the beach, especially for your first year. You know, you want to have the amenities and the chicken and chip shop. Just little, you know, small things that you're used to. So, you know, we went for that before we got into village life. And so, yeah, we quickly built. So we carried on building, and then, excuse me, it really distracts me, so I can't concentrate on it. Yeah. So we started to build. Everyone's talking to me when I'm trying to talk to you, so it's quite distracting. Anyway, so yeah, we started to build, and then it took us until February, and then we moved in February. So this year. So yeah, it was a few months.
So you recently moved to your to the house you built this year.
Yeah, February.
Ah, okay.
It's great. We love it.
Oh,
it's lovely. Awesome. We're off the grid. No mortgage, no rent. You know, no electricity bills, no gas bills. You know, we just have like a canister of gas. You know, we have solar, so we have no electricity. We have a borehole, so we get our water from the aqueduct in the earth. So we have earth water, and yeah, we live a very nice, a very comfortable life. Let's just say that, better than what I had in the UK. So yeah, you wake up smiling every day. You wake up smiling every day.
So when you're making the move, to come, did you have to pack your things and transport them? Like maybe, like how did you get your items, or did you sell everything and come and start buying new stuff over here? Did you move your? Did you head to ship your car? Did you head to ship your household goods? How did you do it?
Yeah, well, the first thing I did was what I called lightening the load, and lightening the load included selling my car. Selling our cars, I should say, because it wasn't just my car. Sold all the cars, and I sold all the, you know, winter items and things that we're not going to use in a hot country, and sold all the things that we didn't need, that we knew we wouldn't need in a new home. We kept all of the things that were useful or things that were sellable. So we separated them, and then we went to a company called Sam's Yard. which is a Ghanaian shipping company in England. And we booked some containers. So what we did was store our stuff there first before we shipped.
Mm-hmm.
So we were able to, you know, empty the house as we were actually packing. So we did it in a kind of ordered way. We had to do our inventory, our bill of lading, you know, our pack testing of all the electrical goods. Yeah, we like I said, we did ship vehicles. We shipped 2 vans, 2 Mercedes Sprinters vans, because we used to run transport for quite a while when we first came. And also some vehicles for sale. We shipped like 1 convertible car and a tipper truck and a pickup truck. So, because they're commercial vehicles, you don't pay as much tax on them. So yeah, we packed as much as we could. We used what little equity we had to get things that were sellable. We got rid of our cars and we bought an old battered white van, which cost us about £500. And we went around collecting things. So we went around collecting things that people were throwing out for free or doing house clearances. So we got really nice, beautiful furniture, new fridges, freezers, and we packed them all. I mean, we were like, you know, going around in our winter boots and our coat in the snow, picking up things from all different places and, you know, shipping them here. Because if you get it, obviously, for a much lower price, when you come here, you can sell it. And there is both a new and thriving secondhand market here. So it was worthwhile for us. We've done our due diligence and our research. You know, I'm at the moment writing a guide, a Blaxit guide for repatriation, so and relocation, so that people can actually learn from what we've done and add to that as well. Since I've been here, meeting other people that repatriated, I've learned a lot from other people, both from America and also from other countries.
Okay. Is it expensive to ship the items? Was it expensive shipping the items to the Gambia?
Adrian, how much did we spend per container to ship? It's about 2,000-3,000, 2,000 something pounds per container. But I actually purchased 1 container and I still kept it. I still have it now.
Oh, so you purchased the container, packed your item, shipped it. Does the country, does Gambia has like, or once they've landed, they put in the charging taxation on every item that you shipped?
No.
Wow, that's
no.
Really
you have a customs office, but you pay for the container.
Oh, okay.
And then you pay individually for the vehicles.
Okay, and
what'd you say? And it depends on what's in the container. If you're doing like a consignment of shipment of things for sale, then that's different. But because you're moving house, it's classified differently. Yeah.
So when now you decided that you're going to move to the Gambia, is there an option or provision for dual citizenship? Are you a dual citizen, or did you have to apply, get some permit, resident permit before staying in the Gambia?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, currently, we've got a campaign on for automatic citizenship for all diasporans, no matter what part of Africa you're in. We shouldn't have to come to Africa when we're returning, especially from racist and discriminatory countries, because I think Africa's been under the myth that, oh, Europe's lovely, America's lovely. No, well, think again. It's not for us. It might be for you know, other people, but definitely not for us as Africans, you know, born in their countries. We face terrible racism and abuse, physical, violent abuse, wrongful arrest. You know, even me, I've been wrongfully arrested in the UK, and I'm a black woman. You know, I've never seen it happen here, to be honest with you, and all the time I've been coming here. But, you know, it happened to me in the UK. It happened to, you know, other people that I know who were wrongfully arrested for murders they didn't commit in England. we're just a target there. So I want us to have, automatic citizenship, and that is my campaign. And today I even got a telephone call from a diplomat, a very important diplomat, based in China. I won't say their name to save their confidentiality, but, the diplomat watches Blaxit and said to me, she wholeheartedly supports our campaign and not to give up the fight, to keep fighting. So I'm fighting for us, for Africa to open its doors to us. We are, we left your shores, we left Africa, by force, in chains, in torture, blooded and stained and absolutely injured and pained and torn away from our families, never to be seen again. And so when we, as descendants, of those people, our family members that went through this, are coming back home because we have a different tongue, and because, our language is different, our linguistics is different, and sometimes our complexion is different because of rape during slavery, and intermarriage because of psychological conditioning that we think white is better than black. And because of those factors, we come back home and we're treated the same as whites, the same as Asians, the same as Chinese. It's a deplorable situation, and it's shame on all African governments that are acknowledging and understanding and opening the doors wide open for us when we come back, because we're investors. We're coming back to invest in the communities. We're not like Asians and Lebanese and Chinese who just come for their own interest and take it out. We come to invest in, and we stay here, and so our money stays here. And so, it's a shame. It's a shame. And, even my own government, I hasten to add, I've gone to the Chief of Protocols office and, given information, requested an audience with the president, and I've seen the draft constitution, and they had no right to write us that. It's our birthright to be here. So at the moment, no, we don't have dual citizenship. I've seen headlines and stories where people are given citizenship, like Chinese, to go and fish in, their brothers' waters in Senegal, to go and steal their fish. We have to wake up all of these kind of underlying issues that we have, because of the fact that the white man's hand is still in Africa. The white man is still pulling the strings in Africa. Some white people even have office in the State House that they shouldn't even be in, and have a hand in writing constitutions on our paid African money, African black money, to write African constitutions. No, Paul Kagame's got it exactly right. You need to, repel all colonial laws, and every African country needs to do that. That's the first step. So for us, we're still fighting for automatic citizenship, but yes, we do register as residency, and we do get our residency here, no problem. And we pay for it. It's like 4,800 dollars for my work permit and my citizenship each year, which I think is an absolute disgrace, especially because the predecessor, the previous president that was here in this country, before His Excellency Adama Barrow was given office, he used to give us citizenship biannually at the Roots Festival. So it's like this country's taken a step backwards and is now, back in the Commonwealth rather than taking a step forwards. But there's a new election coming, and I dare say that will, knell the bell and the sound of change here for the better, because, Ghana embraced the diaspora to the benefit of $1.9 billion in less than 1 year. So let's hope that, the home of Kunte Kinte, the home of Roots, can once again open its doors and embrace us. We should be not having to come here like we're seeking asylum. We're not asylum seekers. This is our birthright. This is our birthright. And so, when people coming from America, running from racism, they should be given somewhere, and we should be demanding reparations. Why aren't these African countries demanding reparations? Where's the AU? Where's our, African Union passports? Where is the borderless Africa? Where is the free trade agreement? Where are we standing all this? Where are we going with this? And, you know, we should all be joining hands, brothers and sisters from the diaspora and our continental African brothers and sisters, and moving things forward, because it's only together things can change. We know about the white man more than the African will ever know about the white man. We know their secrets. We know their weaknesses. We know their flaws. And we know that they're not what they portray to be when they come on holiday, smiling, giving you trinkets and little things to make you feel like they're so nice. They're not nice. You know, I'm sorry, but, well, I'm not even apologizing. Let me take that back. I'm unapologetically black. I live with white people and I've seen all sides of them, every single spectrum. And I can tell you for a fact, there is something in their DNA called evil. Whether you like it or whether you don't like it, it's the truth.
Okay, okay. So you've mentioned 4,500 or something dollars. How much is that in pounds or in US dollars that you pay every year? And do you pay the same amount for your children? Does your husband have to pay the same amount?
No, children don't pay.
But
and it's like age, what is $61 in a pound? So say like 10,000 is just over like 1,000, sorry, is like about £15. So yeah, that's how much we pay, 15 times, well, just under 5.
And your
you know,
child,
and this is
your younger child, you moved with him to the Gambia. He's schooling in the Gambia now.
Yes, he goes to school here. He loves it.
Oh, that's awesome. How was it for him adjusting from the other side to the Gambia, the education system and all that?
I think it's far easier for children because they learn quicker. Like he'll come back and be talking in one off, and I'm like, and I'm trying to play catch up, you know, because you know, oh, thank you, because it takes a little time for me for the pennies to drop, but he really gets it. And because children, they don't need a language to play together. You just throw a ball and everybody knows there's the goal. So, you know, but I'm going to be honest with you, Gambian people of themselves are very welcoming. They're very beautiful, very hospitable, very warm, and a very loving and honest, sort of down to earth, very grounded people, very simple people. And that's why I'm here as well, because if I wanted, you know, the fast life, I would, you know, go to a city and live in a city like in another African city that's very well developed. But I didn't want that. I had enough of that. I lived in London long enough, you know, to be looking over my shoulder and to have the fast life, always living by the clock. I didn't want that. So, you know, to be honest with you, the general Gambians and people that I've met, and even ministers and so on, they've been very kind, very thoughtful. But in terms of moving things along, it has been incredibly slow. And the fact that we were written out of the Constitution, I still have angst for that. I still have, you know, deep-seated pain with the fact that it even happened in the first place, because the fact that we've been forgotten is you know, and this isn't just Gambia, I'm talking about a lot of African countries. The fact that we've been forgotten, you know, tells us a lot about where their mind is, and it shows us that a lot of countries in Africa are still under colonial control, and that needs to end. You know, that needs to end. We need to stop feeling colonial, the colonial, you know, controllers, and be independent and be free. We shouldn't even have to be paying any residency. It's an absolute, you know, absolute insult. Okay. And it's horrible.
And now that you have to renew, how long does someone have to? I know you're pushing for automatic citizenship, which you said was happening with the previous president. But for those people at the moment, the Constitution, how long does someone have to stay in the Gambia in order for to be granted citizenship?
Currently, under the last draft constitution that I saw, it was 15 years, which is longer than the UK, longer than America, longer than Ghana, and it's absolutely in my understanding of any comprehension of especially Gambians, because in fact the very president of this country used to live in England, so it's hypocrisy. He used to work in Argos as a security guard. It's hypocrisy. When they went to England, they weren't waiting 15 years before they could get a job, right? Or be treated as equals. But yet we have to wait 15 years before we're treated as equals. And I do believe that this is not written by a black man's hand.
Okay.
It's been done intentionally to keep us separately. There are rumors that Tony Blair helped write the Constitution. There's also rumors, whether they're true or not, I don't know. I'm not there. That he has an office in our State House, I don't know, because I'm not there. But I know one thing. He's had a bigger wealth than we have.
Okay.
When it comes to the locals, I can't tell people how welcome we've been. If it's just for the locals alone, I overlook all the politics. I just stay with the locals and hang, because that's the best experience you get. And that is where the heart of Gambia is in its people, not with politicians.
Okay. You said you've built a house in the village. Did you say in the village, or did I get it wrong?
Yeah, in the village. I'm in the village.
All right. Okay, that's awesome. So let's talk land ownership. So is the land that you built your house, is it on freehold or is it on lease?
Freehold.
Freehold. Wow, I didn't know. So someone who's not a citizen can own freehold property.
Yes, you can.
Wow,
that's why half of Africa's. That's why they're taking up so much property in Africa. That's why so many other people are coming and buying. And so what they've tried to do is in the new constitution is to change it and to limit it. So non-citizens can only hold a leasehold for 30 years. But I've heard that might be changing to 50 years. But in that case, invariably anyway, the same people they're trying to prevent will just marry a Gambian and within 5 years will have citizenship. Same way as it's happening in Zambia.
Oh, okay. The next question I have for you, how was it after that? I'm picking questions from the chats. How was it after you got to the Gambia? What was the feeling getting used to that? And also, what is the difference between the food in Gambia and the UK?
Okay, I'll take them one at a time. Well, firstly, I was euphoric. It felt like I had a huge bundle of stress, of pain, I was loaded down, I was so loaded, I was on crutches and I had terrible arthritis, I had health ailments. And so, when I arrived here, it was like an invisible force lifts them all from you, quite literally. And you feel light again. And then it's like something in your spirit connects. I can't describe it. It's very hard to describe, but it's like a force goes whoosh through you and then bounds you to the ground and then turns you in. And once you've done that, all of a sudden you feel confident about who you are again. You don't have to pretend to like people who don't like you anymore. You don't have to put them, hello, how are you? You're all right, how's the dog? Family. Oh yeah, nice to see you. You don't have to pretend. And so you can, instead of having a double consciousness, you go back to having a single consciousness. Because here I don't have to acknowledge white people at all, and I don't. Because you're not in my viewpoint anymore. You're not even in my sight anymore, and you're certainly not valued to me anymore. You know, I've been called racist. Would you believe it? Someone called me racist, and I said, hang on, am I in a black country? Is there a black government? Is it black power? Oh, then maybe, you know, maybe after experiencing all of the hatred that I've experienced, you know, I've begun to hate white people. Maybe because of everything that I've experienced. And so I no longer wish to see them, acknowledge them, even talk to them, because the damage has cut so deep. The hurt has been so deep. I can go outside my door and I can scream at the top of my voice, I hate white people. And no one can do anything and will do anything about it. Do you know why? It's because it's how I am able to let go of the pain. Because that's what it is. It's pain. Years and years of pain and fear and intimidation. That's what we have to live with. Where we don't even know who we are because we have to wear so many personalities. One for work, one to go shopping, you know, one for when you pop out into the garden, you're hanging out washing. Another personality for when you're collecting your children from school. Another personality, you know, when you're going to a public event. Another personality for when you're going to a party and it's all black people there. Another personality, you know, you put different hats on for different occasions. And so, you know, it's no surprise that black people are having mental health conditions and multiple personality conditions and schizophrenia. Because we can't even be ourselves. You wear African clothes to wear. Oh, where'd you get that from? Oh, look at her hair. Oh, look at her hair. Look how she's looking. You know, and then you have the, you know, the stiff upper neck ones. Hello, Juliet. You know, do you know the company uniform policy that we have? And those colors are awfully bright, aren't they? You know, and then you have to justify that I didn't know you had a uniform policy that said I couldn't wear African clothes. Are you discriminating against me? So every day's a fight. You know, oh, Juliet, your hair's awfully big today, isn't it? Oh, awfully big today. Any chance you could nip it in a bit? How dare you? You know, how dare you? You know, Juliet, you didn't always have locks. I mean, this is a very presentable job, you working in the media and everything, and we don't really have any presenters with locks. I'd like to introduce you to another Juliet who doesn't have locks. Look, she has a lovely weave, it looks lovely. Wouldn't you consider wearing that instead? No, you can keep your job. Give me my money. You know, but this is the discrimination that we face on a daily basis, and it's real. You know, it's real. Now, yay, Juliet's back. You know, I'm back. I'm back, and I don't care anymore. I just don't care. You know, even I was with my son here in the supermarket, and you know what? He goes, Mum, I want to do something. I said, what do you want to do, son? He goes, I want to tell that man to go back to his own country, like what they tell us. I goes, well, go on then. And he went to him and he goes, why don't you go back to your own country? And the man didn't know what to say or where to look. And that empowered him so much that no, I didn't prevent him from doing it. Why? It's something that we heard all our lives. Go back to your own country, get out. We weren't wanted. We were called the N-word. You know what I'm saying? Called wog, called this, called that. You know, told we were dirty, told we were disgusting, called poo face. And they're saying this to your child from when your child is growing up, from nursery. So you're preconditioned to the fact that you're less than. But we're more than here. We're more than. And we're more than enough now. And it's powerful. Being in Africa is powerful. Regardless of, you know, forget all of the politic, and I ain't into that. What I'm into is my locals and my people on the ground who I work with and see every day. Those are my homies. Those are my family. Those are my peeps. Whether they got, they ain't got, we hang.
So, and what's the a question I think you've kind of handled it. Someone was asking the differences between the Gambia and the UK. I think you've answered that. And the food, did you answer about the food?
Oh, the food. Oh, wow. The food. There's no questions asked. I don't even own a microwave, yeah? And I'm not a hypocrite. I'm going to tell you the truth. Yes, I used to have them. When I used to come in late from work, I used to eat all of them lasagna and thing and funny, or whatever you used to call it, them funny food, them. Yeah, and the korma with rice, microwave meal and peel and plastic back and yam it hard when I was hungry, when I never had no time to cook because I had to work late. Yeah, I had all of that. Grab fish and chips and doner kebab. I had all of that. Yeah. And now I'm eating wholesome food. I mean, my takeaway is like a mango, cashew apple, and, a watermelon and banana and pineapple. And, I can have domada and benachin and supacandra and yam and sweet potato and fresh, my chicken flies in. My chicken flies in.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, I mean, we got literally fresh foods. You're not eating GMO here. We go to our local farmers markets, which opens in the morning. And so we, ensure that we support the local labor and farming industry, agricultural market. Very important, very, very important. And so, yeah, your whole diet is different. I still, have the odd, kind of pop, of course. And, I have the odd tipple of cashew rum, which is a cashew whiskey or whatever they call it, fire water. I'm not going to pretend like I don't, and I'm all innocent. Occasionally, though, not very often. And, I eat the local food. It's amazing. It's tasty. It's delicious. It's wholesome, and it's cooked with love. And I think that makes it a big, big difference. When I'm on the run, I have my ebe, and in the morning, if I'm rushing, I have my shakari, or I have my dolima. And, yeah, lots of grains are involved in that. You've got your couscous, you've got your sherry. The African food is just amazing. And it doesn't matter, I think, whatever part of Africa you're from, there are similarities in the food. You're still going to have your beautiful fresh fried fish. If you're a vegan, I'm sorry, but I'm yam it same said way. I used to not eat meat in England because I didn't know how it was grown, or how it was treated or whatever, or if they were farmed fish. But here, I eat everything down to my cow foot stew. I don't care. It's tasty. It is so nice. So compared to bland English food, I do still have the odd roast. And I think the last time I had Yorkshire pudding was probably December. But outside of that, not really. I generally stick to my Caribbean and my African food. Mm-hmm. And it's much tastier.
Okay. A concern, somebody raised a concern here, but before then, we have over 200 people watching. Kindly hit the like button. Like I always say, I see a lot of new people on the stream today. Welcome. Subscribe in case you're not subscribed. Hit that like button, and like I always say, it's the easiest or the best way to support the stream, but you can still go ahead and support the stream with a super chat. That is the $sign that you can see just as you are typing. And someone, Olasumbo, raised a question. He said, some people are afraid that they might be leaving the Western world where they are to come and face tribalism in Africa. Have you ever faced any form of tribalism living in the Gambia?
It's funny that you should say that, because there are, I don't know, so many different groups here, from Jola, Fulani, Mandinka, Manjaigo. There are lots and lots and lots of different groups of people here. I don't even know all of them. There's some Santiago. That I've only met like a few, which have only had one or two people that I've met from that particular group. But how it actually works is really interesting, and how it and Wolof, Wolof people. There are a lot of Wolof people here, and most people speak Wolof, but most people speak each other's languages. and they intermarry into different groups and so on. I think, you know, tribalism happens maybe in political circles, and I think if there's an issue in a community, people go back to their own council of elders. But generally, you know, people live in peace, and people intertwine here. It doesn't matter if you're a Muslim or a Christian, or if you're an African spiritualist, traditionalist. People generally mix together without a problem, and they all celebrate each other's celebrations, which I find really interesting. I mean, any exclusive party, and I'm there. So, you know, and free food, of course. I'll be there. So I don't think that, I mean, it's very, very peaceful, and Gambia's been very, 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 very peaceful for a long time. There was, you know, a short disruption when Yahya Jammeh felt that the election was rigged. But other than that, you know, Gambia's been peaceful and still is peaceful. And so everybody gets along. You'll find a Fulani, you know, lady married to a Mandinka man. They're both Muslim, so it doesn't make a difference. So yeah, basically they intertwine and live together in harmony, which is beautiful to see. Actually, it's a novel concept for me. But living in the UK, you know, there was always beef. There was always arguments going on somewhere. There was always helicopters, always police cars, always, you know, police mounted on horses. They were always arresting a black man at the side of the road. You know, they were always accosting black people. And you saw that every day. I lived in Hackney in East London, and I was so sick of seeing black people get arrested. I moved out to the coast only to be surrounded then by racism. So, but, you know, either way you go, you're surrounded by pain. You're surrounded by pain. You're surrounded by institutionalized, systemic, endemic, and personalized racial attack. And you're never ever going to get. There's no such thing as equality in their services, in their systems, or in their countries, and any of their services. You're never going to get it. That's why they had the you know, so many reports like the McPherson report, which showed that the police were institutionally racist, and that racism, you know, is deeply entrenched within the police force. In fact, just last night I was watching a video of you know, two young black men which were in a queue with another white boy outside of a store, which I'm not going to advertise because I don't respect the store. And they were, you know, singled out by the police. The white man wasn't arrested. The white man was not handcuffed, and the white man was not searched. But the two black people that were with him, they were. And so it shows you the discrimination. Well, so he watched them, you know, get handcuffed and searched. And of course, they didn't find anything on either of the black men. But it's the fact of the total intimidation and manipulation and embarrassment and absolute humiliation that, you know, we face, and then we become fearful of on a day-to-day basis. And not many people will come out and tell you the truth when they're in England, because they're scared of reprisals. So you can only really talk when you're out. So you have to get out so you can talk about it. You can talk about the homelessness problems. You can talk about the huge drug problem in the white community. You can talk about the lack of hygiene in the white community. You can talk about the dog feces everywhere in the white community. You can talk about the fact that, you know, one of their beaches was infected with a bacteria coming from feces. You know, you can talk about all of the issues that they face, and you can talk about the council estates. You can talk about, you know, the council housing and the degradation and the poverty in England. You can talk about how many people sleep on the floor and sleep rough outside every night, you know, and the numbers are growing. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people are sleeping rough on the street and have nowhere to go. You know, prostitution is rife in England. But they don't want to show you that. They just want to show you nice pictures on TV, but they're not showing the reality, what's really going on behind the scenes. And you know, they just want to show you Buckingham Palace, like that's how everybody lives, but that ain't true.
Okay. Someone is asking, what do you miss most? What do you miss about the UK?
What do I miss most?
Yeah, about the UK.
I don't know. That's a difficult one. I don't really.
Okay, do
I
you
didn't
miss
like snow.
Do you miss anything about the UK?
Yeah, it's only people. It's only people I miss. It's only people I miss. But it's not anything about the UK. It's just people that I miss. There's nothing really worth being there to miss. There's nothing that you haven't got there that you haven't got here. So I'm trying to think is, you know, what have they got there that we haven't got here? Oh yeah, I tell you what I don't miss. I think that's easier. I don't miss congestion charging. I don't miss cameras being on me 24/7, having my image taken up 1,500 times a day as I travel across England, across London especially. I don't miss, you know, getting parking fines because they just painted a colour paint on the road. I don't miss being intimidated and accosted by police. I don't miss feeling intimidated every day of my life and feeling in fear every time a police car, you know, drove past me on the road, wondering if my number's going to be up. Yeah, I don't miss all the racism and hostility that you get and the disrespect that you get even when you're going shopping. You know, that every time they want to search your basket like you're a thief and stop you at the gate, even though there's no alarm coming, you know, there's no alarm. I don't miss, you know, the racism, the intense racism, and the unspoken and subtle racism that you get when you're there. I can't stand it because it's very, very subtle, very subtle. I don't miss the accusation of when you stand up for yourself, you're accused of being aggressive or angry. You know, I don't miss all the stereotypes that they had about us. I don't miss all the big expensive shopping centres where they try to lure all our money out of our pockets to ensure that we spend our money with their corporations and build up their companies and deprive our own because they don't back or give you money to develop your business. You know, I don't miss that. In fact, you know what? I don't miss the dog poo all over the floor. I don't miss the hostile looks from white people. I don't miss being told to get out and go back to my own country. I don't miss being called the N-word. And I certainly, you know, don't miss white sentiment. I don't miss white culture, and I don't miss white people.
Okay. Looks like you're so much at peace. You're home, you know. Also, should African diaspora wait for reparations before making the move? Should they wait for reparations?
Oh no, your repatriation is your reparations. You can't pay for this. Listen, your repatriation is your own personal reparations, and you shouldn't wait for reparations. You should take it. You should just take it. It's there for the taking. Clean up your credit and take. I keep telling people, yeah. I met a lady who told me she got reparations, an American lady in a supermarket. And we got talking, and I go, so what do you mean you got reparations? Like, I was really intrigued, and I said, please, just give me 5 minutes of your time. I didn't know her or anything. And we were just having a conversation. I was like, how long have you been in the Gambia for? Da, 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 you know. And then she told me she got her reparations. I was surprised. I said, hey, how you do that? I'm protecting her name anyway, but let's just call her Miss P. And so she told me that what she did was she made a plan. She made like a 2-year plan. She came here, she realized she didn't want to live in America anymore. So what she did was she made a 2-year plan to clean up her credit, clean up her name. Like in America, they have like a credit score thing. And so she did that. She had a house and she realized that she didn't have much equity in the house. And by the time she was finished paying off the mortgage, she'd be half dead, if not dead, at the way she was working so hard to try and pay it. So she decided that she was going to sell the house. But before she sold the house, she wasn't going to make much money on the house, you know, because of the area and so on and so forth. So she decided that she didn't secure anything against the house either. What she did is she took out a number of credit cards. I think she said 10, a lot. So I can't remember the exact number, and I don't want to lie. So she said a lot. Say it was like 6 or 10, something like that. And she took out all these credit cards from different institutions, and she also took out loans. And she used a credit card to book her flight. She used another credit card to get her container. She used a loan to get a car. She got everything that she needed. She took cash advances off the cards.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's finished. She took cash advances off the cards, and she basically paid the minimum until she left. And then I said to her, so what did you do after that when you came here? She goes, I'm in another jurisdiction, honey. Because that's how I got my reparations. That's how I got home.
There are more Africans who have tried reaching as any European led strength. Okay, that's a question someone asked earlier. If you have questions, keep those questions coming. Hit the like button as you come in, support the stream. Hit that super chat. That's the dollar sign just as you are commenting, support this conversation. Someone is asking, what do you think about Africans moving abroad? There's a number of Africans who are also like really trying so hard to get to the West. What's your take on that?
I actually made a program about that called Stop the Back Way or No More Back Way, because there was an absolute huge tragedy here where I think it's about 64 people, I think, almost drowned at sea trying to get away. Now, what it is that not all that glitters is gold. And unfortunately, people are under the myth that life is going to be better elsewhere, and everybody thinks the grass is greener until they arrive. And then when they arrive and they realize they've got no access to healthcare, they've got no access to decent housing, they realize that they're not going to get a job because they're not going to have an NHS card, an NI card, and now they are really pinned down people who have illegal immigrants working in their business. So most of them spend a lot of time in deportation centers, but don't say. In those deportation centers, people have died, lost their life. I mean, just recently a Ghanaian man and a Nigerian man lost their lives in detention centers because of neglect. And also a Gambian man that I interviewed, he also was terribly abused, and I mean sexually abused by guards in a detention center. So it's not a bed of roses for people that want to do that. And so, people look and think, oh, someone's gone on a student visa and they've had it great. They haven't. When you go to England, you see them waiting on tables and facing dire racism, while they're just trying to earn some money. And a lot of people, especially those who go back, end up having serious illnesses because it's hard to adjust to living in a cold climate, especially in England. And so the challenges that were meted out to them were beyond what they could ever have expected. So I used to look after a number of our brothers and sisters in England who are homeless, some of which became drug mules, unfortunately, some of which became prostitutes, some of which died, some of which, fell on their feet and met a woman who took them in only to be pushed out and deported by that same person that they married. And so I had, people who were chewing on razor blades and threatening to kill themselves when they were going to be deported. That's how bad they thought life was and how good they thought it was in the UK, but it wasn't. I've met people who have been working using other people's documents just to make money. And then when they go home to their white spouses, they take all the money and leave them with nothing and treat them like slaves. And they, go with these white women thinking that they're going to have this great life. And that's not the case. They're just going to be there as a work donkey for the white woman. and they barely get to save anything. And not only that, a lot of these men have got their wives and children back there, and then they sleep with women, and a lot of them get AIDS. You know, and we've had cases here where people have actually, you know, done that and gone to England and died of AIDS, and people didn't even know. Their family here didn't know that they died of AIDS in the UK. And so it is a bit of a tragedy because they couldn't get the medical care because they weren't on the books. And it's harder to get citizenship in the UK now because of racism and because of a new Prime Minister, Doris Johnston, you know. So Doris Johnston has made, you know, life hell because of his racism and his racist stance and racist attitudes. So it's the same as, you know, Mr. Dump. Mr. Dump in America has done much the same thing. That's why you're seeing what's happening in America now. Yeah? And they're both dumps. They're just showing you the big glassy buildings, which are where people work. Yeah, not everybody lives like Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Hello. Okay, the next question that the next question someone is asking, do you think with everything happening in the world this time, this would be the perfect time to actually make the move?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get your passport, pack your stuff, find your way, club together, do whatever you have to do, but get out.
Mm-hmm.
Get out.
Have you visited
George? Let me tell you something, right? You see George Floyd? You see the death of George Floyd? Sis, that was symbolic. And if the black man and the black woman can't see that that's symbolic, yeah, we need to wake up. Yeah, that was a symbolic murder in the same way they used to hang us in trees, the same way they used to decapitate our heads and put them, right, on prongs for everybody to see. The same way they used to tie our arms and our legs to horses and pull the horses in two separate directions until we split in the middle and tore in the middle and, you know, was killed whilst alive for everybody to see. The same way they used to take their big knives and split open the stomachs of our ancestors. Age, I need the power bank, please. Quickly though, because I'm just on 5%. So, no, it was charged before. I just need a power bank. Yeah, so, you know, if that's not a big enough sign, the writing's on the wall. It's time to go. You don't need to build their countries anymore. They're built. You know, we're now surplus. Yeah, surplus to need. And if you think what's going on with this new pandemic, old pandemic, plandemic, scandemic, if you think that this is all happening as an accident, yeah, you also need to wake up and see the writing on the wall. Yeah, all these things are planned. And unfortunately, many of us, yeah, aren't wise to what's going on because we're aligned. And so we don't realize and we don't want to face the real truth. We don't want to face the truth that, I just need a charger. Don't use a plug because it will overheat. Yeah, so many of us aren't wise to the white man's game. And the white man's game ain't changed. The white man has always wanted, cafe please. The white man has always wanted to depopulate, to kill the black race. That has never changed. What, because he smiles in your face and goes on a protest, that means he's your friend? Oh, because he says he's going to give up white privilege. Really? Let them, all them people kneeling, giving up white privilege, let them go and sell their house and give you the money. They ain't giving you nothing. It's all a token. Yeah? We got to stop listening to all of this diatribe. If they wanted you to have reparations, you'd have had it a long time. You'd had your 40 acres and a mule. They spent the last 2 decades taking everything away from you and not giving you anything. When you were segregated, what did? They come and bombed Tulsa, Oklahoma. They bombed Black Wall Street. They torched Rosewood. Yeah? We had riots even ourselves in England, Notting Hill riots, all of the various riots that we've had in England. Mark Duggan, we torched the place, the police torched the place too, because the police, just like in America, we're very much involved in the whole process of ensuring that looting will continue. And that's why I say to Black people, let the white people loot. Because they're just going to get what they can get, and that's all they've ever done. They're only interested in their own needs and their own self-interest. Even in Africa, the same thing in South Africa, the same thing in the Congo, the same thing in Mozambique, the same thing in every single African country, South Africa, that they have robbed, the same thing in Zimbabwe. And I disrespect the move that Zimbabwe made to go and pay them compensation when we've not had a penny of reparations, and then go give them back the farm. And there's no consequences for those actions. Where is our Black militia? White people don't care. They'll come and they will, they will come and they will kill your leaders, your real leaders, your Patrice Lumumba. They will kill Nkrumah. They will come and they have their militias who will come and assassinate your leaders. But when we have leaders that do us an injustice, we do nothing. When we have leaders that sell us out, we do nothing. Where is the African protectorate for the African people? You don't have to be a protectorate under any government. You just need to understand that unless you protect yourselves, no one's going to protect you. Just like in America. You got the new Black Panther Party. You got so many different Black movements here and there. But yet we still dying. The white man said, let the killing begin. Let the killing begin. How many people have died since George Floyd? So many, I've lost count. How many people have been incarcerated since George Floyd? So many Black people have been incarcerated, I've lost count. They said, let the killing begin. And what do we as Black people say? What do we say? Yeah, let the looting begin, the looting of Africa. Let's carve Africa up into pieces like on a dinner plate, and let's all eat off of the continent. And what do we say? Let's all stay in our little tiny houses instead of coming together. They carved up Africa, let's uncarve Africa. Uncarve Africa. Africa should be one continent. It should be one empire. It should be the empire of Africa. One empire. Let them keep their continent. Yeah? It's return of the empire, the Black African Empire. North Africa don't look like me. I've been to Egypt, I've been to Morocco, I've been to Tunisia. That's Africa, don't look like me. We've been invaded and we fought back. Don't get me wrong, I love Shaka Zulu. Yeah, we fought back. But where's our Shaka Zulus today? Where's our Kimpavitas today? We've forsaken our ancestors and we've disgraced their memory.
Okay, wow, that's powerful. Keep your questions and comments coming. African says welcome in the airport harassment. So what's that? The fox in the okay. You mentioned that you've been to these other African countries. That was actually a question that someone asked in the stream. Like, which other African countries have you been to, and what was your experience?
Like I said, I've been to some other African. I've been to Sierra Leone, loved it, fantastic, and really enjoyed Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone is very beautiful. I love the food. I love the vibrancy. Definitely, there's no doubt about it. Very quite. I found it to be quite a Christian nation. And I found it to be a little bit politicized. Age, I need the other power bank, please. Sorry. Because this one's dying. It's only got 2 dots. No, it's on 1 dot and it's bleeping. It's not. It's coming up on the screen. I need the other one. Thank you. We'll bring the extension lead. So, you don't understand. You can't see what I'm seeing on the screen, please, Age. Can you help me now, please? Okay. Sorry. I'm getting Adrian to help me. So, basically, I love Senegal. I've been to Senegal as well. But like I said, I just feel like Africa, you know, has only been independent for a very short time. And so Africa's, you know, a developing nation. I went to Morocco, like I told you, you know, very Arab to me. I didn't feel, I saw some black people, but they seemed very subjugated. I went to Egypt, it was the same thing. I had to go far near Aswan and go across a river to go and meet my Nubians, my people. And so I felt that they were just pushed out to a certain region and out of sight. Tunisia as well, it was the same thing. I always go in search of my people, but it's like, you know, they're few and far between. And I just feel like there's been a takeover of Africa. And if Africa is not careful, the whole of Africa, you know, will be recolonized, you know, including the Chinese. The Chinese are having a huge presence across Africa. And, you know, I don't know why African governments think that the Chinese are their friends, you know. In fact, you know, the white man's made sure that everybody hates the African, and that they have shown everybody how they've treated the African. And so therefore they set the precedent and the parallel for how we are going to be treated. But it's for us to now step up and say, we're not going to be treated like this anymore. We're not going to allow for ourselves to be treated like this anymore. Age, I'm on 1. So yeah, you know, it's a tragedy, and it's also it's sad. It's sad for me to see that you know, our own brothers and sisters are sometimes treated so disrespectfully in their own countries. You know, I was watching Road Maya the other day, and on there, you know, in Zambia, and you know, they were told to get out their own country. I mean, you know, what are you talking about? You know, what are you talking about? And how the Chinese have treated Africans in China, you know, during this whole, you know, pandemic. It's just been, you know, not an eye-opener, because I always knew that was the way in which we were perceived and in the way in which we were treated. But it's just become so apparent now that the hatred for us all over the world shows us, you know, as, you know, Dr. Henrik Clark would say, we have no friends. As Malcolm X said, we need to unify, you know, by any means necessary. As all of our great, you know, leaders have said, you know, and they've spoken loud and clear through us. Harriet Tubman said that, you know, if half the people realized that they were still slaves, she would have freed them all. Problem is that We don't realize we're living in an open prison. You know, I can't come to Kenya now. You can't come to Gambia now. I can't get to England now. We can't do anything now. Yeah? Who's got the control? You think you got control? And when you're living in them white men's countries, you got even less control. And that is the truth. You have less control. So in a roundabout way, you know, in answering to your questions, you know, I feel that, you know, in North Africa, there's been a loss of control by Africans of the African countries. I feel the same in South Africa, especially with what's been going on with the pathetic issue of, you know, brother fighting brother. That wasn't, I don't know, 2%. Can you not just bring Cafe's fan for me? Just give me an extension lead, that's fine. Just plug it out from the TV age. Oh, I don't know. Simple things in this house take so long. But anyway, yeah, the thing is that, you know, the grab for Africa is here. The exodus, the mass exodus that's supposed to be happening is us coming home. But the mass exodus is Swedish, is Spanish, is German, is Italian, it's American, white Anglo-Saxon Americans, white Germanic Americans, it's white. No, you made me go.
As Juliet is sorting out what she's doing, kindly hit the like button. Hit the like button. We have over 200 people in the stream, you know. Hit that like button. We've had over 1,000 people in the stream already since we started. Actually, over 1,300 since we started. Quite impressive. Hit that like button. Support the stream. Hit the super chat. I really appreciate it. If you have questions for Juliet, go ahead, type them, all those questions that I know a number of you know Juliet, but probably there are some questions that you've been longing to ask her, so this is the opportunity. I think our screen froze because I can't see any motion. Juliet, if you can hear me, you'll have to exit and come back again. I still have a number of questions. For her. Let me really see your comments. They are coming to destroy us. Let's identify sellouts. Someone is asking a very interesting question. If she's racist, I don't know what racist or what that really means. Maybe she would really answer to you. They gave the Germans 3 acres of land in Jamaica, and we, the children of enslaved, have nothing. They only termed as quarters and taste of our lands. Yes. And like I always say, on this platform, one of the things that I try so much to achieve is just to bridging the gap between the African diaspora and the continental Africans. For those who are joining us for the first time, basically that's what I try to do on this platform. Started the platform as travel and all that, but I created another platform for traveling. So on this one, I'm trying to bridge the gap between African diaspora and continental Africans. I know Juliet has some programs. She's going to tell us a lot more about how you can actually move. She's working on some document, a step-by-step guide that you can follow in case you want to move. And of course, we're gonna find out on the cost of land for those who want to build. You know, one beautiful thing about building a house here is the fact that you will not have, like she said, like in Gambia, she doesn't have to pay, the land is on freehold, and she doesn't have to, I don't think freehold land, you have to pay some rates at the end of the year. I mean, how beautiful is that? So, and the fact that in some places, especially when you move from the capital city and you move out to the city, you can get your land for less than $1,000. In most parts of Africa, you can get even an acre for less than $1,000. So how beautiful is that? You just need to move some few kilometers away from the city. So there is no mass exodus. We need to do more. Yes, 9-1. I do agree with you. Because we are black first doesn't mean we hate everybody. I agree with you, Cassandra. Yes. Hit that like button. Let me find out what's happening. I think her device went off, but I know she's going to come back. Keep those questions coming. Zimbabwe is a shame. I could grind my teeth to sodas thinking about it. I can't say that Zimbabwe is a shame, but I feel like the rest of Africa, we failed Zimbabwe. I mean, if we all took back our land, to be honest, thinking about how the land was taken from us and people taking back their land, and then the country faces sanctions and all that, it's not fair, because the people who took the land from us, they never paid anything to get the land. So when we take back our land, I don't feel that we need to compensate them. They just need to go back to where they came from. And that's why I believe so. I feel like the rest of African countries failed Zimbabwe, and also the fact that it's a shame. What I can say it's a shame is the fact that these African nations actually went to beg for sanctions to be lifted. If you were united, I mean, we could come together and we could rescue, or we could save Zimbabwe. And Zimbabwe would actually be a very good place, since it doesn't have, with the sanctions and all that, I don't believe that there's much interference from external forces. Zimbabwe would be a very nice place to actually start maybe the industrial revolution in Africa. And that would it could supply the rest of us. But unfortunately, we have like extremely poor, corrupt, not poor like poverty, not like not having money, but poor in the sense that lack of leadership skills. We have poor leaders. I don't even think we need to term them as leaders, but whoever is at the top of the nations in Africa is actually failing, because we are all relying on handouts. We are all always relying to be given handouts. I'm seeing someone mentioning about vaccines. I think we're at the end of the day, our leaders are waiting for these developed countries to get the vaccines so that they can actually donate to Africa. Let me find out. Okay, Juliet is back. Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. Right, I said to my husband, "Oh, the battery's going." So he gives me a charger. Charger's dead. I said, like one of these bank things, yeah? It's got no life in it. And so I'm saying to him, it's not charging. It is charging. It's not charging. It is charging. I'm like, okay, well, come and show. I'll show you. It's not charging. By the time I show him it's not charging, it stops charging.
Okay.
So technology, there you go. But I'm plugged into the wall now.
Mm-hmm. Actually, a question for you on the screen. We can start with that. Do you think the average Gambian is aware of the racism in Europe?
No, they're not. I actually did an address at the University of the Gambia. And I asked everybody in the room, it was in the law department, in the legal department. I'd asked everybody who had experienced racism to put their hands up. There was, I think, maybe one or two out of hundreds of people. So they haven't experienced it, because when you're raised in a family where you're loved and you're surrounded by people who look like you, you're not going to experience it. And then when they come here on holiday, they're in great jovial mood. They're here to enjoy themselves. They're here to be kind. They're here to you know, get as much fun as they can, you know, and so they're not going to see the side of white people that we see living in England. They're not going to see this, you know, the overt racism and the very, you know, conscious and unconscious bias that exist. And, you know, we witness it because, you know, we go to nursery and we're in nursery from before we're 2 years old. And, you know, because our parents have to work. And so you face discrimination from a very, very young age. And they're not exposed to that. So they don't know. It's like my mum, when she didn't know what racism was until she came to England at age 14. She didn't know what racism was. Because you're protected from it. You're not exposed to it. It's just like anything else. So, you know, some people say, oh, you know, you've got to blame continental Africans because they let them in and because they're nice to them and this and that. It's because they don't know the enemy. They don't realize they're the enemy because they haven't been exposed to it. Although history itself should be a teacher, but the way that Black history is not taught in the way it should be because we're still allowing white people to dictate our curriculums. And so, you know, if whoever's going to be educating you, if the person that's educating you is your enemy, they're going to make sure that they didn't put out the truth about who they really are and what they really are. So they're going to, you know, paint Christopher Columbus to be a saint, even though he was a murdering, rapist, evil, dirty, low-down excuse for a human being. Actually, mankind. I take back human being. That's too nice. Kind of man. Yes. So, no, they're not aware of it. But they need to get aware of it. And they need to get sharp fast. They need to get sharp fast. Because white man talks with forked tongue. Yeah? They are the wolf in sheep's clothing. And unless Africa wakes up and realizes that everybody that stands behind the white man, including the Indian man, the Chinese man, Black men don't have no friends, Dr. Henry Clark said. Yeah? Dr. Anderson said, unless we work with our group economics, we will have no economics. We will not have any control over Africa. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, she said, and she was very straightforward in what she said. She talked about the fact that a Black man cannot be racist, especially in a Western society or setting, because we do not have control over economics. We do not have control over our own religions. We do not have control over our own education systems. We do not have control over our economic systems, and we do not have control over our social environment. So you can't, because the paradigm of racism, as Dr. Dorian Wilson said, is the formula of prejudice plus power. Prejudice plus power. And so here in Africa, they ain't realizing that. So they can come with money to get contracts and bribe and take all your raw resources, your natural resources that they should never even have access to. If Africa closed off and closed up and told everybody to get out, this would now be the zenith for Africa. And I'm glad, in a sense, that the world is really seeing what a white man is like. And not because they walking down the street with you at night protesting means that everything's all right. Like I told you, sheep in wolf's clothing. If they know there's going to be an uprising of Black people, what's the best thing they do? Pacify you. They pacify you. They lay down next to you. They seduce you. They undo you until you can't be you. And it's a long, hard, and enduring process that we go through. And they wrap it in fear. They wrap it in fear. So they use the most evil, methods to get your attention, whether it's a lynching. And I heard that there was one just recently of another lady near Texas, right? or whether it's a public murder. It's all intentional.
Okay. As someone is asking, what is your take on interracial marriages?
My own experience, I have a personal experience of living in a household with an interracial marriage. So basically, when my parents got divorced, I went to go and live with my uncle and my aunt. My aunt was of Welsh descent, white. And of course, my uncle was born in Jamaica, is an African born in Jamaica. And it was harrowing. It was hard. And those memories burn into my spirit, into my soul, as something I would never do as long as I live. Never. You know, for what I saw and experienced, I'm not going to expose it, but I don't recommend it. I don't commend it. And I don't like it because I see through it. And the truth is that Black men and Black women, they all go through situations where they want to experiment and make mistakes. You know, we don't want to learn. We don't want to learn from the past. We think that we can write it. I mean, Candice Owens, I'll give you an example, right? You know, I'm going to say her name because I would like to put a donut in her mouth. Yeah, she married to a white man. And the things she says about her own white people, it's like when you lay down with a Black person and a Black person lays down with a Black person, you are unified. There is an understanding. There is a vibrational connection, cultural connection, love connection. When you lay down with someone who is not from the same race, who is actually part of the problem of your oppression and suppression, and you lay down with them thinking that their solution, there's only one conclusion, you must be totally mad. Who lays down with their enemy as their friend? Who? At the end of the day, you know, I observed total racism in mixed race relationships. I observe one big pretense where these Black men are pretending they're happy, but inside their households, they're arguing, they're fighting. It's not what they pretend it to be. It's a fallacy. That's what I know. And another thing I know is that you have to give up so much of yourself to keep up the pretense. You have to give up, you know, who you are to stay in that relationship. And it's soul destroying. And that's why you see so many of our men, after they've been out with white women, they're battered. They're of no use. That's why you see a lot of our Black women who go through spousal abuse with white men, because white men are very violent. In fact, I could tell you something, but basically, someone who I know went out with an Irishman. He came home drunk and he slit her throat from here to here. Right? I'm not saying there's not violence in Black relationships, but let me tell you something. It is higher in white relationships. I'll give you an example. When I lived in England, there was an area called Barking and Dagenham. That area had the highest rate of domestic abuse than anywhere else in the country, and it was a white area. Okay? Because violence is in their DNA. Evil is in their DNA. So when you lay down with them, it's the same DNA. That's why when you have their children, and sometimes their children that come out are defiant and disrespectful to you as a Black person, because it's in their DNA for them to do so. You know, and confusion between who you are and what you are as a mixed race person. You know, where do you belong? Where don't you belong? Where are you rejected? Where are you accepted? Too many questions. So, you know, for me, as far as mixed race relationships concerned, I don't endorse it. I never have and I never will. And I'll be straight on that. I think as a people, we need to come together first. We need to understand each other first. We need to heal first. And the foundation of healing is a Black family, man, woman, and child. Yeah, man, woman, and child. That is the only way forward for us. And secondly, financially, let me tell you how it works. I had a situation I have to observe myself where one Black person's whole legacy that they worked for went, right, to a white woman. Yeah, imagine, worked all your life, your legacy went down to a white woman. Why? Because the Black man went and laid down and married a white woman, and then he died suddenly. When he died suddenly, because he had just married her, she inherited the whole legacy of that family. So it's not just about, oh, having this grand union and this nice day. No, they're doing it for economical gain. And you're in slavery once again. When that Black man brings home the money, he ain't bringing home the money to no Black white wife. Yeah, he's abandoned the Black woman. He's left the Black woman. He's turned his back on the Black woman and walking down the street. He can't even lift his eyes up to acknowledge the Black woman for fear of reprisals from the white woman. So he might as well be on a leash and under control like a little puppy dog. Because they have to do, everything they have to do is to keep that white woman happy and make sure that white woman's laughing. And that is the trick that they use. They use psychology on our Black men and they open their legs like clothes pegs. Yeah, clothes pegs. That's white women, open their legs like clothes pegs. Black women was brought up differently, especially my generation. Yeah, we were told that our front is like acre of land, you protect it and you respect it. White women ain't told no such thing. They'll entice our men into drugs. They'll entice our men into so many different situations. That is why you have such a high population of Black men who date white women, getting into criminal issues and problems and ending up incarcerated. When you go to jail and you see the number of men in jail that are Black, when you look at the table who's visiting them, you see that most of the time it's a white partner. And I've done it because I know I've done it. I've seen it. I used to work in prisons. So they're there to destroy, kiss and destroy, love and destroy, lay down and destroy, have sex with you and destroy you. They don't care.
Okay, as someone, okay,
It's just annihilation of the Black gene.
Someone asking, this in the UK, this is in the UK, and then also another question someone was asking earlier on, like, are you a racist?
If a scientist loves science and is a specialist in science, if a pianist plays the piano and they're great and they're a pianist, if a biologist loves biology and they're an expert and that makes them a biologist, and I love my race, does that make me a racist?
Good question. Wow. And something I also saw in the comments when you've talked about the mixed race marriages and all that. I saw somebody saying in the comments, she was talking about she's mixed and she feels like she's not accepted on either side, neither the white side.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Something's happened again.
Wow.
I can't hear you. Have you muted me? Let me try and see. Hang on. I'm just going to log back in again. Just bear with me 1 sec.
Okay, cool. All right. Juliet cannot be racist. Racism is a system judged by. She can't be racist. She has to have power to ruin people's lives. Kindly hit the like button. So Juliet can no longer speak here, but she's I don't know what happened that she suddenly went. She couldn't hear me, but we're going to add her on the stream. Pan-Africanism strikes back, says, an African man willing to do work anywhere is a threat to white supremacy everywhere. Our women should ask us how we fighting the enemies before they lay down with us true facts. Okay?
Yeah, I can hear you again. Right, we're back.
Okay, I'm glad. Oh, someone was asking, are you a? Oh, okay. I think you answered that, and you said you answered that question of being someone asking if you're racist, and also,
I can't hear you properly.
You can hear me now?
Can you start again? I can't hear you properly. Yeah, say it again now, please.
Okay, so I was saying what you are talking about is actually correct, because I've seen somebody in the comment talking about how she is mixed and she's finding it hard to be accepted on either side, because she's mixed white and black, and she's finding it hard to be accepted on either side. So we're going.
Well, I have 2 mixed race nieces and I love them anyway. So, you know, you go where you're accepted. And it's where you feel you belong. That's where you belong. That is all it is. I've seen white people reject mixed race people all the time. Yeah, I have my nieces, they couldn't choose who their mum was, they couldn't choose who their dad was, and they're here. So I love them just the same. And I tell her, love yourself first. Love yourself and love your blackness and love your culture, because ultimately there's some reason why she's watching this stream. It's because she feels this is where she belongs. So just go with it. You understand? At the end of the day, you know, that's what you got to do. And you know, I've seen some mixed race people, like when I was in England, you know, I saw a lot of commentators who were really out there and that were helping the cause, you know, and Bob Marley, you know, he done a lot, you know, to help Exodus movement of Ja people. You understand? So what we have to do is look at, you got to do what works best in your own interests, right? And I don't mean that in a selfish way. What I'm trying to say is that if there is a root deep within you that is, you know, pushing you towards Africa, or if there's a root deep within you that is pushing you towards living with white people in Europe, then you go to whatever route is pulling you down.
Right. Someone asked, can someone be Pan-African and in a mixed race relationship?
Sorry?
Can someone be Pan-African and be in a mixed race relationship?
Not unless they're in an asylum, not unless they're in a mental asylum. No, never. How can you? How can you? It's not possible. How can you think black and act white?
Okay. What is your take on the Chinese presence in Africa?
What is my take on what?
Chinese presence in Africa.
Oh, I think that, you know, their presence should be eliminated. I just don't think they should be here. I just don't think they should be here. They should be asked to leave. The same way as China, in China, a black man can never be a citizen. So why should they be here in Africa when they can't be a citizen either? We should treat people how they're treating us. Simple. Yeah? They need to have the royal handshake of goodbye, farewell, see you later, sayonara. Because they're only going to take over. Yeah, They only want to take over. That's what they want to do. And if you can't see that they're overpopulated and looking for somewhere else to migrate their people to, you must be, you know, you mustn't be even on this planet. You know, I'm not afraid to say that I've been ignorant and stupid in my day. But I tell you, I woke up with a harsh rude awakening. And since I woke up with that harsh rude awakening, you know, because let me tell you something, you have it slapped in your face. And when you have it slapped in your face, that's when you wake up. So a lot of these, you know, black men that are dissing white women to go sleep with Becky, you're going to get a harsh reality. One day you're going to wake up and a dog's going to be licking you right in your face. Yeah? Yeah? With his dirty dog breath in your face. And you're going to have a harsh reality. That's what's going to happen. You're going to wake up one day and realize this is not this is not what I bargained for. And that happens a lot.
All right, all right. Kindly hit the like button. We have over 200 people on the stream. Thanks to everybody who's super chatted the stream. You can as well go ahead, support the stream. Hit that dollar sign. Hit the like button as you are coming in. A question for you. What do you think should be done for Africa's liberation, and do you think that Africa is truly independent?
I only got a part of that. I heard independent. What was the rest?
What do you think should be done for Africa's liberation? It's basically tied to that. Do you think Africa is truly independent?
Well, no, Africa is not truly independent yet. You know, this is a growing process, and you know, there's lots of new leaders in Africa. You know, I live in a country with one, and to be honest with you, in some ways, you know, I got to take my hat off to him, Adam Barrow, in certain ways, because he has been progressive. You know, as a new president, he has done some good things in the same way that the predecessor had done some good things. The question is what is needed to progress Africa in the right way and have it independent? And do leaders want that? And do the people of Africa want that? Because unfortunately, we have white savior syndrome in all of our countries. And until white savior syndrome can be eradicated, it's always going to be a long-term issue, because you can't treat the truth, you can't pull out the weed without pulling out the root. If you don't pull out the root of that weed is always going to come back. And the problem is that we have not pulled out that root yet. If you keep a bad apple in a bowl of fruit, then you're always going to have it. You know, when a dog walks and does a toilet, he doesn't care who steps in it. And that is the analogy of the white man. They walk and they do the poo. The Chinese man walks and does the poo. He doesn't care who steps in it. But we're the people that are stepping in it. And we keep stepping in it because we're not learning. It's the same white man that came and enslaved us. It's the same white man that has killed us for centuries. So what is the comment that they want a response?
Pardon?
I can't hear you again.
Can you hear me now?
Say that again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. What did you say, hon? What's the... Yeah,
no,
what address that comment? You want a response?
Yeah, I just asked about what
the Pan-Africanism strikes back. I'll answer. What does he want?
I love that comment. I want a response. Let's wait. Pan-Africanism strikes back. You can ask Juliet address that comment. I want a response. I don't know which comment is that.
It's very hard to hear.
We'll have to wait.
Your internet is breaking up. What was the question?
I don't know. Let's wait for him to ask that question again. Sheikh says, since we black men are still on the stroller waiting for the car, waiting to be on pad on the back, on our back, black women are once again leading the pack. Africa's black liberation. Okay, Juliet, another question I have for you. Do you regret moving from the UK at all? And do you ever plan to?
Well, no, I'm going to answer the question on the screen because I can't hardly hear you. Sheikh Sharif, you said since we black men are still on the stroller, waiting to be patted on the back, black women are once again leading the fact for Africans' black liberation. I'd actually say that it's a coalition actually of black women and black men, because there are many people that are out there and are very vocal that are male as well. So I actually don't say that because my husband is very vocal and he's a man. But what I do say is that Our men have been effeminized, demasculated, and broken down. And it's all been intentional. Yeah? And now they flipping the script on so many different levels, I don't even know what to say. Yeah? Because we've forgotten that, you know, without the foundation of the man, woman, and child, we ain't got no foundation. So, you know, black men have let women down, black women down by, you know, doing their thing with Becky and leaving black women vulnerable. There's no doubt about it. And there's more black men with white women than there are black women with white men. And black women are only going with white men because black men aren't available to them. That's why they're putting in weaves and bleaching their skin, you know, because they think that's what you're attracted to. I think it depends on the situation if I will ever visit the UK again. Right now, I can't even get there anyway, but to be honest with you, I formed what's called an allergic reaction. So if I don't have to, I will not. I will not. If I don't have to, I will not. That's my answer.
All right. Can you hear me now, Juliet? Can you hear me at all?
Not really, but you can write it on the screen again.
Okay, maybe if you can exit and come back, or maybe I'll have to try and type the questions. Keep the questions coming. Keep those questions coming. Hit the like button as you are coming in. If you have questions, thanks so much for the super chat, Phil. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Phil. Sheikh and everybody, Brandon and everybody who has hit the like button as you're coming in. What is your take? Okay. Address the question on the screen.
Politics. Well, let me frame it this way. Are we doing African politics or European politics? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Because until we repeal all colonial laws and systems, we won't be doing African politics. We just won't be doing any African politics. How can you do African politics on a construct of your enemy? So your enemy is never going to give you a political system that benefits you. Yeah, they talk about democracy. I'll give you an example. Democracy was in Africa a long time before the white man. Democracy was here on the continent. We sat under mango trees, under the Banta bar, and we made decisions collectively about our communities, our societies, our village and our districts. So we don't need their system. We had decentralized system long before they knew what demonocracy was, because it's all about, look how you break down the word, like demonstrate. Yeah, it's the system. We're being played. There's someone behind it. It doesn't matter who's in front. It's just puppets. Always has been and always will be. You know, controlling from Europe. And until, you know, we start to take control and have more intervention in the systems that we have, and we have control over our own economies, we have control over our own economical systems, we have control over our own laws, we have control over our own governance, we have control over our own constitution, which is an Africa-wide constitution, which is created for Africans by Africans. And so there has to be a whole change in thinking before we can have African politics. What we have is Eurocentric politics in Africa. What about those who can't afford to come back home? Now, I ain't starting from the mental thinking of can't afford. From the time you say the word can't, you on a negative track. Yeah, take off the tea. Take off the tea. You can afford to come home. I tell you why. Every day you spend money. Every day you spend money. Whether it's on a soda, whether it's on a bottle of water, whether it's paying a bill, every day you spend money. And if you can spend money, you can save it. So don't tell me you can't afford to come home. Tell me what you're prepared to do to get home. Seek asylum. Tell them you're an asylum seeker and get funding, get money. You know, do fundraising, do crowdfunding, do anything, beg family, beg friends, sell your best sneakers. Yeah, stop raving, stop doing everything, just conserve money. You know, sleep in a one room, rent out the other room, sublet, do whatever you have to do. Yeah, take a foreign student into your house to go and you know what I mean? Or, you know, find a way. Find a way. You know, when I was building this house, trust me, and I couldn't sell our other property that we had equity in, you know, I sold my wedding ring. My husband weren't too pleased, but I was determined to build my house. So I sold everything that I had to do. Yeah? Okay, who's Phil?
Right.
Who's Phil? What Phil?
Don't put Juliet in the. I agree with you, PG. Kindly let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up. Hit the like button as you're coming in. If you have questions for and for the people wanna know. Put your, I don't know.
So answer the question, what about Phil's Mexican wife? I already made myself very clear. Yeah? I made myself very clear on the situation already, so far as Pan-Africanism is concerned. Yeah? I made myself very clear. At the end of the day, I don't feel that I can lay down with a white man. This is me personally. Yeah? And get up and have the same feeling towards Africa as I do. I don't think I could. And, you know, I don't think that my conscience could work that way. But this is very, very personal to me. And I personally don't think Pan-Africanism and white relationships with white people works. Because, you know, the question is that at the end of the day, when a white police officer is kneeling on a black man's neck, they are never, ever gonna feel how you feel. When they're choking Mark Brown, when they're killing Breonna Taylor, yeah, when I listened to George Floyd's so-called white fiance, how she spoke, she never even said anything about the man kneeling on her fiance's neck. She never said anything bad about the police. So that in of itself tells you where her loyalty lies. So, you know, for me personally, like I said, people ask me, Juliet, you know, how could you say that? How could you say that you lived in England and, you know, you mix with white people and whatever? I have a choice. I have a choice. Give me a choice. Now I have a choice. Right? Now I have a choice. I personally don't exempt anybody. Okay, so they say his wife is not white, so I don't understand what the argument is. You understand? I don't know what the argument is. You know,
an interesting conversation in the chat. I don't know what is Mexicans. Okay. I don't know what is so hard to understand and all that. Kindly hit the like button. If you have questions for Juliet, go ahead and ask. Okay, I think you already answered this. Do you regret coming? Coming?
No, I got no regrets whatsoever. It's the best decision I ever made. You know, other than getting married, having my children, it's the best decision I ever made. You know, and I would tell everybody, come home. Your life is too precious. Your life is too precious to be in an environment where you put it at risk. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to give the white man that amount of control over you. You know, so if you can find a way, make a way, you know, and come back. That's what I say. Get your house in order, get your passport, you know, get any little savings, any little money you got. Get, you know, do what I did. I was working 3 jobs before I came to save money. 3 jobs. I was working one online, you know, I was working another job, you know, part-time, and I was volunteering on another time, getting a volunteer's allowance. So yeah, you got to find a way, make a way. So you're representing Tulsa, Oklahoma, and you're sick and tired of the US. My soul yearns for Africa. My plan is to relocate in less than 18 months. Do it, bro. You know, I sis, do it. So, okay, I'm not going to get pulled into any gossip. I don't know what it's about, but like I said, yeah, we as Black people need to unite. And that includes, you know, Black women, because Black women are singled out because they're not being protected. So I need Black men to step in and protect our Black sisters, our Black queens. They also need to have financial foundation. The same thing that you supply for a white woman, that foundation, financial foundation you supply for a white woman, you should go and supply for a Black woman. You need to roll out of that bed. Yeah, go clean yourself up and sort out your head. Because Black women, the majority of Black women I know, they don't even like going out with Black men that have been out with white women. Something about them just feels like, ugh, nasty, because that's how you see them. I even went to view a house this week, and it was a white woman living there. It was absolutely, totally disgusting. Dirty, smell of feces, disgusting. And to think that, you know, a Black man was lying down, lying up with all that, like, you know, it's a shame. It's a shame. I ain't saying they're all the same. I'm just saying that it's just what I saw. I can only speak it like I see it. You know? And we ain't the same. Don't tell me about if you cut me, I'll bleed. Let me tell you something. I have more cuts, and Black people have more cuts than any other people on the face of the planet. So we know about blood. And we also know that melanin is different. Yeah? We are not rhesus positive. We are different. We are not the same. And that is the reason why we have become a target over and over and over again. Our hair is not the same. Our skin is not the same. Our lips, our bottom, our intelligence, our genius is not the same. And the only reason why there's been a whole white superiority is because it really is white inferiority. It's because they're melanin retentive, and because they don't have the same abilities and superpowers that we do. And yeah, I said superpowers. Charge up your melanin and see what you can do. It's amazing. I can show you amazing Black people worldwide. Amazing Black people that have created amazing inventions. Whereas Garrett A. Morgan, who created the traffic light that no one else thought of. Whereas my free ladies in hidden colors that, you know, did all the calculations, computers, and helped build a rocket to the moon. You know, everything, whether it's true or false, it doesn't matter. We were still a part of that equation. Whether it's, you know, us when we were creating the computer or creating GPS or laser heart surgery. It's us. So if we leave, that's what they're afraid of. Why do you think they locked the borders? You think they locked the borders because they weren't afraid of us leaving? Really? They know there's going to be a mass exodus. So what's the best way to stop a mass exodus? Keep you inside, keep you locked in. And so now everyone's on lockdown. It's not by mistake. $1.9 billion going to Africa? I don't think so. You better close them doors, Stop them black people from coming in. Now let's start a political rallying. Let's get them all together so everybody starts swirling again and they won't be thinking about Africa. Yeah, I have, black friends who have laid down with white men. I'm not going to pretend that I don't have black friends that haven't done it. They have. And they all come back to regret it. Every single last one of them. I've seen black men lay down with white women, and then white women got their house, and they never put in that black man's name on that deed. They can live there all day long, and they ain't never putting that black man's name on that deed. And we have to stop being kept men and start being grown men, because that's what they do. They just keep you as babies, emasculate you, effeminize you. And then they make you immature and young and needy. Black women need strong black men, intelligent black men, loving black men, giving black men, good black men. We are great. We are Africans, and we are African first before anything else.
Kindly hit that like button. Hit the like button. Juliet is sharing some important knowledge here. So, Juliet, what religion is mostly practiced in Gambia, and what is your take on religion?
Religion is an odd thing, and I don't really discuss religion. Yeah, let me just lay it out straight. Yeah. My religion is this: I'm free. I'm neither Christian and I'm neither Muslim. So I can only talk about my own experience. And why aren't I either religion? I'll tell you why I'm not either religion. I'm not a Christian because the foundation of Christian and what Christian is has been distorted and destroyed over years. And it was used to enslave us, mentally and otherwise. But I respect everybody and their choice. If you want to be a Muslim, you want to be a Jew, you want to be a Hebrew Israelite, you want to be a Rastafarian, you go do it. You go do you. But for me personally, I'm free. I was born free. I was born free. I don't choose to go into an Arab man's religion because I don't want to speak Hebrew. I want to speak an African language that has been there since antiquity. I personally don't subscribe to anyone's belief structure because I was born free. I wasn't born into it. Some people, their parents, they put them into schools, or they put them into Catholic schools, or they, make them go to church, or they make them go to the mosque, or they're just put into religion from a very young age. And so they're socially conditioned. Fortunately for me, I wasn't socially conditioned. When I asked who my creators were, my dad said, it's my mom and my dad. When I asked about anything, they just told me, do good, live good. And so I never had no fear. I've never been a God-fearing person because I never had a fear of God. The gods of my ancestors are the gods of my ancestors, but I am not of that understanding because I haven't been granted that information. So, the free that I have and the freedom that I have is based on the fact that I had never had that paradigm. I never had that paradigm. If you ask me about Marcus Garvey, I could tell you. You ask me about Kimpavita, I could tell you. Ask me about the kings and queens and the Nzingi warriors, I can tell you. So I was brought up in Pan-Africanism. I wasn't brought up in religion. So I don't really have a take on it. But I know one thing, that it made me fearless. It made me fearless. So I think that it didn't do me harm not having religion, and I raised my children in the same way. So we just live good, do good.
All right. All right. I don't know what's happening with my lights. Keeps coming on and off, but my Wi-Fi still remains intact. That's very important. At least we can
It's the
still converse.
ancestors. You don't understand. It's the ancestors, yeah? It's the ancestors coming through to you. Because the one thing I've never forgotten is my ancestors, yeah? I never forget my ancestors, and I always pay my respects to my ancestors and those who came before me. I don't pay respect to entities that I have absolutely no understanding or knowledge of. So I respect all my ancestors, and especially those ancestors who died for me, those who I have reverence for. So, you know, that's what I deal with. I will pay my pilgrimage and my penance to my ancestors that, you know, died so I could be here today. So I
Okay.
don't
Okay.
subscribe to any European or any Arabian or any other kind of lifestyle.
All right. Andrew, you say I've ignored your question. No, I don't ignore questions. Sometimes it's very hard because the comments are so many. I might have missed it. You can ask your question again. So I don't know if you've addressed this question. What do you think, and what do you think should be the contribution of the Africa diaspora returnees to their continent?
Well, I think there's many things. You know, some people call it, you know, intellectual capital. Some people, you know, might have financial capital. Some people have skill sets. And I think coming and creating, especially employment and enhancing the labor market is important. I mean, coming to Gambia, you'll find there's a lot of young people who are happy and willing to work. So, you know, adding to that, building an infrastructure of processing and manufacturing is very important in Africa. We need this. So we need to bring capital finance, big capital, in order to do it, because what you're finding is that Indians are coming in, Pakistanis are coming in, and they're taking over sectors, whole sectors, such as construction materials for a house, or what you need inside your house, your tiles and so on, because we don't have our own ceramics factory in which we can make our own tiles. So we're getting tiles from India. Why are we getting tiles from India when we can make them right here in Africa? So that's what I'm talking about. It's about that infrastructure development. Why have we got Indian people out there laying African roads? It should be African companies laying African roads. It should be African companies building our airports and, you know, maintaining our airports. Why have we got Chinese people out there taking our fish and, you know, spewing it back out into the sea? These things shouldn't be happening. And, you know, African fishermen shouldn't be giving the fish to Chinese before they feed their own. So, you know, there's many things that need to come to change so we can, you know, contribute our experience of living in the West, our experience of racism and discrimination, hostility and abuse. We can share the knowledge that we have and ensure that we can, you know, keep the knowledge capital going on. We can share about African history, because some of that has been lost, because, you know, there's not one day to commemorate. I'm not talking about African Liberation Day, African Day, because it's not a national holiday. There should be a national holiday where you have a day off. Everybody has a day off globally to commemorate our ancestors who died during slavery. You know, there should be a Kunte Kinte Day or something, yeah, to commemorate our ancestors who died during slavery.
Okay. You initially, you mentioned about when you moved to Ghana. Initially, there was issues with finances. So, how did you move past?
Gambia.
And would you advise someone to come without savings? And if someone has to come with some savings, for instance, the Gambia, because you're in the Gambia, how much does someone approximately need to come with?
I think it depends on what you want, and if you're coming as a family or if you're coming as a single individual, because that makes a difference. When you have children, it's always more expensive than when you come as a single person. As a single person, you know, you can, it depends on if you want to set up a business and what kind of business you want to set up. So it's really on an individual basis. But I've seen, you know, one man who was a carpenter come with just his tools. You know, he came with, you know, like £2,000 and his tools. And he's still here, you know, nearly 20 years later. So, like I said, it's really hard to be finite because it depends on your circumstances. It also depends on how you live. Some people come and they'll live in a village. Some people, you know, want a plush apartment. You know, some people want a whole compound and a house and swimming pool. It depends on how you live. Well, that will really dictate the expenditure that you will have. So I've seen people come here with £5,000 and live. I've seen, you know, people buy a piece of land and build a house on there, you know, a little 1 room and parlor, you know, saying outside bathroom, outside kitchen, and build it up for like less than £2,000 and breeze blocks and some zinc, you know what I mean? And live a happy life and build it up room by room. So, you know, you can do that with a few £1,000s. It depends on how you choose to live. And the cost of living in Gambia is quite reasonable. So, you know, your dollar and your pound go quite a long way. So I would say it depends on your circumstances, and it's better that you hit me up with that. And then I can guide you through it and explain to you, you know, like an average of rent might be £81 a month, depending on where you're living. You know, it could be less, it could be more. It depends on where you're living and what you're also coming to contribute.
Okay, are you employed? How do you sustain
So,
are you employed? How do you sustain your life?
I'm just seeing the one on the screen.
Oh, okay, answer that first.
Okay, so you can call me. Some people have been saying they're trying on WhatsApp. It's very easy. It's +220 240 5273 on WhatsApp. Lots of people get through to me every day. So please keep trying. It's you know, if you can't do the +22, then do 00220 240 5273. And you can get through to me on WhatsApp because that's the phone I'm using now. So if you're calling me now, you ain't gonna get through. So when I'm going live, or if I'm filming, editing, or sometimes just trying to get through admin, helping people with their lands, or I'm in meetings, then you're not gonna get through. Or if it's too late in the evening and I'm sleeping, then definitely not. But tomorrow is the best time to call me. So if you can call me about 1 p.m, that would be great. And then we can talk there, Mr. Pirate Brain, okay? So we can talk then. So I don't know what it is in Eastern American time. You're going to have to calculate that. I'm doing African time right now. So
yeah, 1 p.m.
1 p.m. 1 p.m. Gambian time.
All right.
So what was the other question? Sorry to interrupt you.
The question is, are you employed? How do you sustain? Like you and your husband, did you seek jobs, or how do you generate revenue having moved to the Gambia? Like, how do you sustain your lives?
Okay, well, firstly, I'm retired. I retired at age 47. And I retired because I no longer wanted to work for anyone anymore. So I self-retired for health reasons, mental health reasons. I don't want to work for no white people no more. I retired because I was tired. So, and when you get tired, you retired. So I'm retired, and we decided to retire in the UK. And so when we come back here, how do we sustain ourselves? We have a shop. So we have a business, and we rubber, which is also called buy and sell. And that's a good lucrative business that you can do here. I also obviously.
What type of shop?
Oh, it's a kind of sell everything shop. It's like a thrift store.
Mm-hmm.
So but we sell, household goods, but we are changing it more into like a supermarket, because there isn't one kind of supermarket in our village. There's more shops, local shops. So we're going to offer a wider variety of stuff and for low price. So our shop was like a thrift store. It was like I don't know if you've got pound stores or dollar stores. It was like a dollar store come thrift shop. And we did well, and we do well. We also create an income by obviously helping people. And so how do we create an income from helping people? So it's probably the next question you're going to ask. So say, for example, someone wants their business to be promoted, yeah? Then they'll come to me and say, Juliet, I want you to promote my business for me. And I say, okay, I will, but this is how much it's going to cost to edit, and this is how much it's going to cost to put up. So it's not a huge amount. Sometimes I don't charge. Most of the time I don't, but I do that. And because the cost of living here is quite low, we are able to survive on a very small budget and to live reasonably well. I also vlog. So it took almost a year. No, I think it was a year. Over a year before I got a penny from YouTube. So I finally started getting that income trickling in. So that's also helping. But your average meal here, if your family is about £5, so you don't have to live on like huge amounts of money. And I think you budget well, and that's how we do it. Remember, we don't have bills, so we don't have an electricity bill, and we don't have water rates. We don't have council tax. Land tax each year is about $150. We don't have huge overheads, so it's much more cost effective living here on a small budget and you can easily manage. And we have staff as well that we pay. So yeah, it's mainly like buying and selling. We take a management fee so far as land is concerned, just so that I can obviously pay my staff and keep all the overheads low. So yeah, so we do most of our stuff online. So that's how we survive, and we survive comfortably here in Africa, because you don't have all the outgoings that you have in the UK and in America, and there's no TV license, there's no like crazy tax every minute, and you just pay, depending on what your income is, 2%, 5%, 15%, whatever, to the GRA.
Okay, you talked about work permit, and looks like you're self-employed. So do you mean even for people who are self-employed still need the work permit?
Yeah, because you're working.
And how much are taxes charged as because at the moment you are considered a foreigner, right? Does the amount of tax you pay same to the amount of tax that the locals pay, or do you pay higher taxes?
You're actually seen as a foreign investor. So there's a change insofar as, I've been told about registration, but my business partner is Gambian. I work with Gambians all the way. So, my business is run with and through Gambian.
Mm-hmm. Do you get your retirement benefits from the UK?
Well, I was actually working before. I was working. I was employed.
Oh, okay.
I was working. Yeah.
Okay, so you get your benefits?
No, I don't think you do. I think you can, though, if you were to be on benefits, because another lady that is here told me that she had her benefits transferred here. But when you work in England, you don't get benefits. It's only like working tax credits. But if you're not working here, you're not going to get them.
Okay, question on the screen. How much is a plot of land from low to high end?
You can get a plot of land from 50,000 Dalasses, which is like about £915, all the way up to multi-million pounds, 22 million. Yeah.
Depending on the location that you choose. How far is the place where you decided to move to from the capital? The capital city of Ghana is Banjul, right?
Yes.
At least I didn't miss that. Okay,
well
so
done.
how far is it from?
Are you in Nairobi?
Yeah.
So basically, the airport is probably about 7-8 miles. It's not far.
Oh, 8 miles from the airport.
Yeah, because and then Banjul was probably about another 2 miles down the road. So.
Oh, so it's not even a village. That's like the outskirts. That's a beautiful place. So how much?
I'm in the village.
Wow, I mean, if that was Nairobi, that would be within Nairobi. I think because maybe I think Gambia is small inside Senegal, right? The Gambia is small inside Senegal, so I think maybe that's why, because in Nairobi,
431,000 square miles.
Oh, that's really awesome. I can imagine that should like if that was in Nairobi, that would still be in Nairobi. So how much does land cost there where you are? Like you mentioned, about 7 miles from the airport. How much does land cost there?
Okay, now where I live, the land prices have exponentially risen just recently. So probably not a great place to say, because where I am is getting very, very developed. But the next village up, you can get land for like 75,000 for a 20 by 20 plot. But here you're talking like you're talking about 125,000, 130 for a very tiny plot. But well, even more than that. That's really cheap. No, because the last plot that I wanted to buy here, the last plot that I looked at was 450,000, and then there was another one for 900,000.
That is in dollars.
But if you go to the next village, up, then there was a plot there for 125, but you got to verify it. So, I'm not sure because I didn't verify it.
Is that in terms of dollars? Is the price that you're quoting, is it in dollars?
Dalasses.
Oh, so you said you mentioned $120,000 Dalasses where you are.
Yeah, no, that's not really where I am. That's further out. You can't get that where I am. Where I am, it's more like 400,000, 900,000. It's very expensive where I am right now.
Okay. Does someone need vaccination shots when they are coming to the Gambia?
No.
No, even or nothing.
No.
And, okay, looks like our land is pretty much affordable in the Gambia.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to compare it to some other places.
The plots that we have available now, the cheapest price is for the actual plot, including all process and everything, up to our Carlo transfer, which is the very first and most basic transfer that you do, is 950 £915 for 20 by 20, and that's in a place called Kasakunda. And then we have
900
Jambanjelly, which is 75,000, which is about 1,250.
You say £950 for 20 by 20. Is it 20 square meters by 20 square meters?
15.
15 square meters.
15.
Okay, 15 square
No,
meters.
£915.
Okay, for 20 by 20 square meters.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yes.
how is the political climate in the Gambia? Is it a good place that you'd recommend people to invest in?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. It's a great place to invest in. There's no doubt about it. And I think one of the positive things that the government has done is to make it more inviting to diasporans. And so, you know, I got to give His Excellency Adam Barrow credit for that. In when you go to Gaipa or you go to the Chamber of Commerce, you know, I've had really positive reports about, and those are some of the initiatives that he has put into place. So yeah, it's very good, and you get a lot of good advice. So yeah.
Does the Gambia allow for dual citizenship, or one has to abandon the other citizenship to take the Gambian citizenship?
No, dual citizenship.
All right.
It's dual.
Right, that was from Shabani Rajab. I'll bring those last questions that you have as we are concluding. As you know, you can always reach out to her. The number she shared, I type it in case you didn't get it. I'm going to type it up again. She has a very, you know, good YouTube channel that you can learn a lot about the Gambia. You know, she's a firebrand. So yeah, check her out. Her channel name is Blaxit, Blaxit. Juliet, I've been the Gambia soul. I will look you up. Right, that is from.
Yay!
And one thing I like about Juliet is the fact that when you reach out to her, she actually responds. That's really something I really like, the fact that when you can reach, I know she has a very busy schedule, and I know when she gets missed calls and all that, she will call back. So yeah, the fact that she responds to messages, and if you're in the Gambia, and she's quite open to meeting a number of you, or all of you. I don't know, maybe she can speak, because I've seen a lot of videos and she's quite open to meeting a lot of people. So can anybody just look for you when they in the Gambia?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely welcome, and you know, I want him to come over, and I definitely, you know, love to sit down and, you know, have a meal and talk, and with my husband and, you know, our children, and talk about our experience and try and guide and support and help where we can. So yeah, definitely, I'm in the process of. Thank you, Captain Diaspora. Big up. And I'd like to thank you as well. Yeah, African Tigress. One of the things that we do aim to bring back is the Blaxit link up that we used to do. We used to do a link up every week where we would meet people who are coming into the country. And I'm also working on the Blaxit relocation repatriation guide, which is going to answer a lot of the questions that you actually asked me today, and also give information and pointers and contact information for people who can support.
All right.
Like, for example, opening a diaspora account. You know, how do you open a diaspora account? You know, that kind of thing. Can I open it remotely? Blah, blah, blah. So that kind of thing. And how do I get my TIN number? You know, your national insurance number. What do I need it for? you know, all these kinds of questions we can answer. So, sorry, I was twisting my hair and now it's going to leave my face.
Oh, talking about that, I think I recently saw a certain video about Move Your Money, whereby a lot of Black people are moving their money to Black-owned banks. That was quite interesting. And I'm actually also going to find out, because I know there is also diaspora accounts for banks in Kenya. I'm going to find also out. Probably I would share that, and maybe you are also going to do that. Hit the like button as you're coming in. I don't know. Hit the like button as you are coming in, and we are concluding. In case you have any questions for Blaxit, this is your time. This is your time to ask all that.
Yeah, ask me your questions. I'm good to go. Thank you, Captain Diaspora.
Check out her channel.
I'm good to go.
If you're new to my channel, subscribe to my channel. I do live streams every single day, and like I told you, I'm always working on
every single day.
Yeah,
I've seen some of your live streams. I didn't realize it was every day.
Every day.
You're fantastic.
I stream every day, and on this
you know, I would love to be able to do that, but I don't have the witherall.
And I would also want to, you know, like for the past, you're the first lady. For the next 2-3 days, we're going to have lady guests. I mean, most often we have men participating, but tomorrow we have a lady. The day after tomorrow, we're going to have a lady. And then, and then maybe by introducing more ladies, because I also noticed on my platform, 70% is men and ladies are like 30%. So I'm also trying to, you know, create a balance and get more, how much does get a balance and get more ladies participating? A question, please ask Juliet, how much is internet and cell phone service in the Gambia?
Okay, it's pay as you go. So it depends on where you are as well. It will depend on the signal you've got, whether you've got fiber optics, sorry, or whether you're going to have a router which you can top up, or whether you're just going to use mobile data. So some people here, they just use mobile data because where they live, the internet is great. And so they might top up like 150 Dalassis, 200 Dalassis. For us, we have quite a special system because obviously we're in the country. So we have a long receiver, and we also have a box. So you pay like a one-off to get those. And that was, I think, about 12,000, and you top up each month, 20-something pounds, I think. Yeah.
Oh, wait.
So you top up 20-something pounds each month, like 22 pounds.
Are you using Wi-Fi right now or mobile data?
No. I have a server, like a receiver.
Is it limited or
with a big router?
Okay. Is it limited?
Yeah, it's unlimited.
It's unlimited per month?
No, unlimited.
Oh, so how much do you pay? Did you say you
it's
pay
about
per month?
£22 a month.
Oh, and the internet?
£22 a month. You have to pay installation.
Oh, how much is the installation fee?
Where with QCell?
How much is the installation fee?
Yeah, the installation fee was 12,000 Dalassi, which is about, how much was it, Age? How much is 12,000 Dalassi? Calculate it for me. The installation fee was 12,000, wasn't it?
Something like that.
Yeah, it was 100 odd pounds.
More 196, 200 pounds.
About £200 was the installation. Yeah, for a one-off installation. So you just pay like £22 afterwards, but that's your internet signal, and you get a good strong signal.
Oh, how many
Because
Mbps?
obviously I'm in Gambia, so.
How many Mbps? How many Mbps? Like what's the internet speeds?
You're asking the wrong person. You're asking the wrong person. Adrian can tell you in a minute. Is he like me? What? He's like in a different language. I'm not techie.
All right.
Okay, I'm trying to brush up on my Wolof. I'll find out in a minute. So, he said he thinks it's 130 megabytes, but I think that's not what they're wanting. They're wanting the bandwidth, which I think is 4,000.
No, that's what they want. That's the internet speed.
Oh, I don't know what he's talking about.
The speed is 0.56 megabytes.
5.6 megabytes. Oh, show it to me. Let me put it on the screen.
So the sound around 40.
Here, let me show it.
Touch the screen, says
okay, hang on. Let me just touch the screen. There it is.
No, move finger. Move finger. Look. Look what you're doing, Joe. Look at the screen.
Oh, okay.
Look at the screen.
No, I'm doing it in the camera.
Look at the screen.
The screen's fine.
Not just touch it. The top bar, come down. Push back up the top bar. Push it back up. Push it back up. There you
go. Oops, there he goes.
Oh, okay.
There you are.
144.
All right.
Great.
But I mean, it's okay for us. We have to upload videos and so on. So.
Not the fastest on the
yeah, but we ain't on the most expensive package.
Okay.
But other parts in Gambia, they have fiber optic, but it's because we're in the village. Yeah, like Westfield and them areas, they have fiber optic, but they can get like 30 meg and they're really, really fast there. And other places, they're really, really fast. And you can, you've got disruptive labs, you've got hot desking facilities here, with really, flash Wi-Fi and their own server and, hot spotting desks. And they got a lot of facilities here, new facilities like disruptive labs.
Okay, that's Eunice. I want to be main guest, Tigress. I want to talk about digital currency and making money online. All right, Eunice, that's okay. We can plan.
The scientist said, I'm trying to brush up on my Wolof. Are there any lessons on YouTube? Yeah, Jay. I think her name's Jay. I can't look at my phone right now, but she does Wolof lessons online and she's very good. So look out for Jay. And like I said, my Wolof is abysmal. Because I had to switch from learning Wolof to Mandinka because I moved from a Wolof area to a Mandinka area.
But
so now my Mandinka is getting good, but my Wolof is suffering.
I'm sure your son probably knows both by now.
Okay.
I'm sure your son knows probably both of them by now.
Oh yeah, he's good. He's good. He plays with children. He plays with locally, so he's getting better. How much does it cost to build a house in Gambia? Now that depends on the size of the house, the spec of the house, how many bathrooms you have, how many bedrooms you have. But you can build like a 4-bedroom house like what I live in. If you go to my channel, you'll see it. And you can build this for about 38,000, 39,000, especially if you don't have high spec stuff. But you can build a simple house for as much as 10,000.
Are you giving
£10,000?
Is 10,000 pounds?
Yeah, and £39,000, 39,000 pounds for a 4-bedroom. So if you're just doing like 1 to 2 small bedrooms, you can especially 1 bedroom, you can build for less than 10,000.
Okay. What is the best industry to invest in the Gambia? Industries.
What is the best thing?
Industries. Which fields should somebody invest in the Gambia?
Number one, I say agriculture. Everything. But for number one, I say agriculture, agri-processing. Processing, manufacturing, distribution, especially recycling, upcycling, recycling, I would say civic services as well. Very important. Different civic services are always a good investment. Education, private schools, good investment. Retail sector, good investment, as long as it's the right business, obviously, and the right location. I think that building and construction, great investment. Property and development, great investment. I think like across the board, really, there's lots of opportunities for investment. Dairies, there's no local big dairy. Breweries, drinks, companies, food manufacturing and processing, cold stores and dry stores, freight distribution, and road building, and traffic, and also transport and infrastructure. So yeah, broad strokes, really, broad strokes. How are roads and traffic and public transportation? Some roads are fantastic. I'm not going to lie to you. Some roads are great, just like you got in England. Other roads are like the sea, and so you need to, if you off-road. But if you stay on the main roads, then it's fine. But when you off-road, that's when you go on the sandy roads. So it's good to have a four-wheel drive. So I would say traffic is only difficult at some times of the day when, the same as anywhere else, rush hour, then you can get some bad traffic in certain locations like Caraba Avenue or going up to Turntable, which are, densely populated areas. So, and Banjul, densely populated area. So you can get traffic in those areas, but it's not as bad as like sitting in traffic for 2 hours or anything like you would in London. So, it doesn't take you 3 hours to get from one side to London and the other in a car. And you don't have to pay no congestion charge. So, yeah, in terms of public transportation, it depends on where you are. Like in Brikama, that runs to Banjul, they have the green buses, just like the English half-decker buses. If you're on the coast, like where I used to live, they use local taxis, local minibuses, some of which are nice and some of which are battered. It all depends on which one you're taking, in which direction you're going in. So they also have taxis, and a lot of people have drivers. They have personal drivers. And the personal driver picks their child up, takes their child to school. Personal driver picks them up from work, takes them to work. Also, you have green taxis, which are tourist taxis, and you have yellow and green taxis, which are public taxis, which are like your 8 Delassie rides, which is like you jump in a taxi for 8 Delassies and you go a certain distance and you jump out again, and everybody jumps in and out. So you have those taxis. And then you also have, like I told you, the minibuses. So you have some which are in nice condition and very nice. And then you've got some battered old ones. Do you know what I mean? You're thinking, oh my gosh, is that on the road? So you get a mixture of both, but it depends on what you do. But a lot of people here have their own cars, to be fair. So a lot of people have their own personal vehicles. So, yeah. Yeah, I had to survive without a car. I had a driver. So, Denise BK, you could definitely survive without a car. You just get a nice driver with a nice car. Rainy season, I love rainy season, actually, to be honest with you. I really, really like rainy season. I had my first rainy season here last year, and it is not what I thought it was going to be. I was like really prepared for like the deluge and stuff that I'd seen on TV. So I bought big rain jacket. I had like big Wellington boots, galoshes, that went over the knee, and I had a big raincoat, big umbrella, big everything. And it rained and it rained and it rained like the first night. And I thought, right, I'm going to go outside. So I put my galoshes on. I put my raincoat on, my rain hat and my umbrella because I'm ready for the rainy season. And I went outside and I stepped outside and I started to walk. And I thought, maybe it's just in my compound. It just looks a bit dry, So I walked out the compound, walking down the road, looking for the puddles, looking around, and there was no rain. because the sun dries it up really quickly. So, you know, if it rains for quite a few days, if the area that doesn't have good drainage, then, you know, you will have water. But most people drive through it, walk through it. You know, it's not so your car's floating away or anything like the English floods that they had. The floods they had in England was serious. They were terrible. And, you know, bailing out people's houses and all that kind of thing. You know, people seeing their car float down the road. The floods in England are 1,000,000% worse than the flooding here, which, you know, you'd be quite surprised at. But because you have the sun, so the sun actually dries up the flooding. It's a time for growth here. Rainy season is when most people go and they farm. So it's generally quieter because most people have gone back to the provinces to farm. So there's far less people around. So if you are doing a retail business, you know, be prepared for slow days during rainy season. Yeah. Because obviously when it rains, people don't really come out as much. But that's not all the time. So in an average week, it might rain like 2 to 3 times a week, you know, at night. So the days are really nice and the sea is warm during rainy season. So most people on the weekends are out enjoying the sun on the beach. So, you know, I thought it was like England. So I got it completely wrong. You know, in England, it used to rain all the time. It used to rain almost like, you know what I mean? In autumn, it rains like every day. Like spring, it rains like every day. So I thought when I came here, they call it rainy season, it would rain every day, but no, it doesn't. So it's a bit of a misnomer, but you do have more dragonflies, and it's good because the dragonflies eat the mosquitoes. And they're beautiful. Here, they're iridescent colors with iridescent wings. They're absolutely gorgeous. And I'm not big on insects, but I do like the dragonflies because they're so beautiful. They're so graceful here. And so, and they come out at that time of year and they eat mosquitoes. So that's really good. We don't really suffer from mosquitoes as much, especially where we live. They're not as virulent, but you can just wear cream anyway. So after you like shower in the evening, you just put a cream on, it lasts for 8 hours. So yeah, you just use repellent if you are worried. And I don't really need, I don't take like malaria tablets or anything. But if you do feel that you might get it or whatever, then you can just take one treatment, you keep it in your cupboard, it's 3 tablets, and you've got tests that you can keep in your house. So, and it's only 150 Dalasi for a test at the hospital. So it's very little. Now, the DT FAMU 89 has asked me to name 5 businesses that the Gambia really needs. I would say upcycling, recycling business, that would be really good. Eco building, you know, sandbag housing, you know, that kind of thing. So upcycling, recycling plastic into usable and renewable things like pellets, road pellets, for the road, and upcycling into all plastic products. You can do it yourself, so that means we don't have to get it from the Chinese, we can upcycle ourselves. So I think that is needed. Some machinery, especially machinery for agriculture. So agriculture is another big business, that's the second business. So upcycling, recycling is the first business. Agriculture and development for agriculture, and bring in farming machinery and a wider variety of seeds will be a good introduction to the Gambia, and you know, safe and organic farming methods, and combine harvesters and agri-processing, like I said, with dry store and cold stores and manufacturing and processing. So that's definitely something within agriculture that you could do, especially like processing cashew nuts and so on, because if you process them on your own country, then you get more for your cashew nut than if you sell it unprocessed. So I think that's one thing that we could do. It's a very important industry. So around agriculture and food processing, and dairy, you know, and farming, including, you know, hatcheries and husbandry. Thirdly, I'd say intellectual property based things around IT. So a great IT companies, and also, you know, to offer alternative internet service and providers, and IT based industries, I would say is good to go. That's number 3. For number 4, I would talk about manufacturing. You know, there needs to be a lot more manufacturing being done, more factories. For example, I spoke about a ceramics factory. I spoke about, you know, factories to, you know, use for those upcycled and recycled plastics. So we need to do our own manufacturing, especially so far as ceramics and building materials and so on is concerned. And lastly, I'd say education. Definitely education. Invest in education and social welfare projects. I think that would benefit Gambia. And the reason why I say education is not that there's not schools here. The capacity of the schools is somewhat limited with some of them, because so they'll have sessions in the morning and sessions in the afternoon. So I think by resourcing those schools or adding more schools will take the pressure off those schools. And I think a diasporan school is obviously needed, especially one that focuses on African studies, African history, and African languages for diasporan children here. So it's part of their curriculum. So do I have cable TV? I did in my last house, but I left everything there, so no. I use mainly the internet, and I use an Amazon Fire Stick. So I can get access to everything, YouTube, Netflix, you name it. But we don't watch TV, to be honest with you. I don't think the TV's been on for about a long time now. My son, sometimes he plays Xbox. But it does have cable TV in Africa here. And you do have GRTS. They have satellite TV, cable TV. They have everything here. So yeah, you know, you've got the main stations, GRTS, Paradise TV, QTV, and other stations, lots of other stations. So yeah, if that answers you, Tina, rolling, she shed Tina. So yeah, there is cable TV, but I don't personally have it.
We are coming to the end of the stream, but someone asked, how is the coronavirus situation in the Gambia? Is there a lockdown? Is the Gambian government helping?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, we have a lot of freedom here. And as long as you wash your hands, you're free to go. And so most people just have hand washing, and in like areas like banks and so on, there's safe distancing. This weekend, they opened the mosque, I think today, I think. Mosques open, and Sunday churches open, but the other institutions don't open and the borders are still closed. There's been a case of 1 death that I know of. I don't know, I heard it was 2, but then when I looked online, it says 1. And 26 cases of people who got it, but everybody recovered. So, yeah. But I know that the government received a lot of money from different sources, and relief on repayment of loans. So far as the crisis relief fund was concerned.
Mm-hmm. All right. I don't think there's anybody. I read there's a 5-year visa for 100 of our citizens. Do you know this? Do you know if this to be true for the Gambia? Let me put it up.
I missed the first part.
I will concluding this stream in the next 2 minutes, so you better ask your questions now. Do people homeschool there? As I'm looking for the other question, Juliet, you can answer that one.
Yeah, some people do. Yes, some people do. It's choice. Obviously, my son goes to a foundation school, which he really enjoys. So he went to an international school first, and then I put him into a foundation school, which was smaller. I read there's a 5-year visa for $100. I think it's $200. I might be wrong.
$200.
I think the 5-year visa is $200, but I might be wrong. Yeah, I think it was $200, not 100, but I need to check that. You could be right. It could be 100. But yeah, that is to visit if you're a US citizen, yeah. So she's right about the 5 years, but I'm not sure about the cost.
Okay.
Zaya Sade.
Okay. I think at this point, there's something that you mentioned. So Gambia is mostly Islam.
Yes, it's mainly an Islamic culture, and it's very sort of peaceful and very nice, and it's quite refreshing actually to live in a majority Muslim country. I think there's a gentleness to Islam that I like. There's a reverence and a respect in Islam that I like. Like I said, I'm personally not religious at all. But in terms of that, they've embraced me even without being religious, and no one's tried to push me into becoming a Muslim. People have accepted me, as I am, told them I wasn't born into any religion, so I'm just free. And they're okay, and they do like to share with me, the stories about Muhammad and so on and so forth, which I find quite interesting. But I also have my sort of own analogy, and like I said, I remember when I was very young, my dad said to me, Juliet, if everybody's running and they're going to jump off the bridge into the ravine and they're going to die, are you going to follow everybody and run? I said, no, of course I'm not going to. And so that's always been my philosophy, is that I'd rather step on the sidelines and watch and see what's going on. I'm not going to run and jump into anything. And so I don't really tend to follow people or movements or religions or anything like that. But I do like to learn about them, and I do like to study them, and I do like to understand more about them and understand them. And I will go out of my way to learn about them and to investigate them. But participating in them is not my intention.
All right.
Thank you, the stage.
No, there's one question I've missed. There's one question. There's someone who's saying they sent you a message on WhatsApp. I'm moving to the Gambia next month. Maybe you'll need to check that. Dear Saturday, and asked the best time to call you. I think she had talked about it. She said 1 p.m. tomorrow Gambian time. So check that out in relation to the time zone that you are in. So that would be it. So I don't think there's any other question. I think I've tried to ask her all your questions. She's a very, very busy woman, as you can see. Trying to build, reaching out, making videos and all that. It's not easy work. Trying to raise, she has children and all that. It's a lot of work. Even me trying to get to you wasn't as easy because I know you are always busy. So trying, I get sometimes you are always on the road and all that. So yeah, so I can't see any question. If anybody has a question, the next 1 minute as we allow Juliet to conclude. Juliet, thank you so much. We've been here for 3 hours. Thank you so much for taking 3 hours of your time to share all this with us on this platform. I've learned a lot. Can a foreigner register a business? Can you, since you are considered a foreigner, can you register a business? And how much is the business registration?
Yeah.
How much does it cost you to register
Yeah.
business?
$1,500.
$1,500.
Yeah.
All right. There's someone who's saying I've ignored their question. Andrew, I don't know. You
But it
see,
also depends, the cost depends on, that's for a limited company, but it depends on what you're registering. NGOs and stuff are different.
NGOs
You'll
is
need a constitution and yeah, NGOs is different. You need a constitution, you need board members, treasurer, it's more complicated than that. And the cost is different.
Do you have rental houses for the transition? Someone asked, does Juliet have rentals?
Yes. In fact, the house that I used to live in was taken over by a Blaxit subscriber who got trapped in the UK because of COVID. So her house is available for rent. And it's a nice house in Kaloli. So yeah, and also let me just say that I don't really do rentals for transition. What I do is I think that you should come and see where you want to live. I don't think you should book any rentals in advance of coming here. I wouldn't advise it. I wouldn't do it. With land don't rot. You're not going to lose out because land only increases in value. But for you to book it and then come here, that it's in an area that is undesirable to you, or maybe it's not close enough to shops or it's not close enough to amenities. It's different when you're building and you're moving into a house because you're going to have a car, you're going to have a vehicle to get around. But when you come in and you're renting for the first time, I say come and check the place out. Come and book into a nice hotel and then, use that time here, link with me, and we can go and look at places together where I can also negotiate or find out about rentals that are reasonable but high quality, in the vicinity for you that you want to live in, because you might have needs like, you need to be close to a school for your child. You might have other I don't want to be close to oceans. Okay, you might have other specific needs. So I say come in and book yourself into a hotel. Once you book yourself into a hotel, get to know the layout of the Gambia, and then start looking for properties in areas that will be most suited to your needs. So don't do any rental business. Don't do any Ponzi schemes. Don't get involved in anything like that. Wait until you get here and then check things out, please. Yeah, because I don't want anyone getting involved in things and then saying they regret it afterwards, because there's a number of people who are, online, and to be honest with you, their needs are purely selfish and nefarious. I'll give you an example. I called up one company on behalf of a Blaxit subscriber, and the company said they had land for sale at a certain price. So I called them up to find out the certain price. And when I called them, they told me that picture was old. It was on their website from 2004. And then they told me that the piece of land, which should have been valued at 75,000, they were trying to quote me at a cost of 350,000. And of course, buying on land online is not a good idea. Doing any rental business online is not a good idea. You need to go and see for yourself, because pictures can tell you one thing, but you need to go and see the area. You need to go and see where it is, because the last thing you want to do is, leave America and then you come to an apartment building and everyone you see coming down the stairs is white. So that's why I say come and see, because, they do live here, and, some of them are settled here and have been here for a long time, since like World War I. So that's what I'm saying to you. The thing is that you need to come see for yourself. You need to check the area out for yourself. You need to see facilities yourself. You need to see what the roads are like yourself. So yeah, please do that. And no, not all places are close to the ocean. I don't live close to the ocean. I live like 20 minutes drive from the sea. In answer to Benjamin, yeah, Sister Benjamin.
Okay. Wow, this is another question. It's
We
on a
don't need to
different
be.
direction. Well, Africans, Andrew, the one who's been saying that you've ignored his question, says Africans are being enslaved by Arabs. What can we do to stop it? And Andrew, so you know that YouTube censors comments. So your comment does not display on my screen on StreamYard. That's because YouTube has already censored it. If YouTube has censored a comment, it won't show up on my StreamYard. So I have to check my device on the phone in order to be able to see it. Juliet, that's the question he's been asking. He said that I ignored.
Okay. No, I mean, yeah, I think that there needs to be a whole Africa approach to dealing with the situation. I don't think that it's a unique problem to any one country. I think what's going on in the enslavement of our brothers and sisters by Arabs has to be addressed. And like I said, there needs to be a One Africa army, a protectorate. There needs to be a One Africa militia that protects Africans worldwide. And as other countries do, they have their own defense systems. We need our defense, we need our offensive systems, we need an attack system if we need to use it. Because at the end of the day, if you can't protect yourself, you left yourself wide open. And this is what is happening. And the first thing that we have to do is stop going to their countries. Stop going to those countries. You know, all this idea of financial betterment, you know, better situations, you're not. You're probably going in to be sex trafficked, sold as a slave, you know, and whipped and beaten and in a lot of cases murdered and killed. So I think the first thing that we have to do is stop people from going by having an information campaign showing what's going on. And, you know, people are determined to think that the West is best. And, you know, it's our job to make sure that we tell people that England and America is not what you think. Show them pictures of Skid Row. Show them Skid Row. Show them people sleeping outside on the floor. Show them miles and miles and miles of homeless people. Show people going to food banks because they can't afford food. Show children digging food out of bins because they can't afford school dinners. You know, the reality needs to be shown, and that's not what's being done. So far as Libya is concerned, the first thing we need to do, you know, is to stop going there, and there needs to be a united African front and the AU and so on. They need to get involved because the UN ain't going to do none because it's black people. You know, the UN didn't do anything when it was West Papua. When you think about what's going on with West Papuans now, the genocide that's happening to West Papuans, that's been happening since 1961 when they invaded. The Indonesians have been, you know, absolutely exterminating West Papuans until they've halved their population. And now they're trying to exterminate the whole population to take their resources. And Australia's in it, England's in it, America's in it, China's in it, Holland's in it. They all in it. So what we can do is highlight the problem as well in the media, highlight the problem in our communities, and, you know, put out a stop warning to stop people from going there so it stops happening. If people will listen, because remember, people have free will and they're going to do what they want. They're still going to go the back way and get in a boat and have it turn over, capsize, and risk their death to try and get to a country that doesn't even want them there. Why? Because of ignorance. Why? Because of stupidity. And also because of what they've seen. They think all that glitters is gold, and it's not. They've been fooled. So the same thing with Libya. There needs to be a united African front. And if the loyal African front aren't doing it, there's 170 million diasporans. 170 million diasporans. You know, we should be able to come together to have a force to be reckoned with, to stop it from happening. That's what we need to do. But, you know, nothing is ever highlighted unless you cast an eye on it and unless you put a camera on it, and everybody should point a camera on it. And maybe we have a global campaign to expose what's happening there, and everybody post non-stop about what's happening in Libya and to the whole world, you know. So that's a possibility.
All right, all right. Thank you so much, Juliet. It's been a long stream, 3 hours, 30 minutes. A lot of people are trying. I'm going to leave your contact, phone number, and email in the description for those who would want, for those who missed it. You'll definitely get that. Besides that, you can still go straight to her channel. You'll get it. We've had over 2,000 people since we started the stream. I see a lot of people are sharing information and sharing contacts, like saying they could be reliable sources of information. I just want to make a disclaimer. We've had 2,411 people with only 302 likes. So I cannot say that everybody who's been on the chat section is legit or not. So if you make side business, if you go to make side business with someone that you met on the chat that I don't even know the person because I don't get to see the comments that are happening on the chat. If you get scammed and whatever, that is on you. Just go ahead, do the business, whatever business that you want to do from the chat. Don't say I was scammed on African Tigress. Just say that you are scammed because you didn't listen and you didn't do your due diligence. And this is also something that you were addressing yesterday. It doesn't mean that everybody who's in the chat who's saying this actually uh, is really genuine or legit, because I can see emails, contacts, phone numbers, and everything flying in the comment section. That is okay. Go ahead, do whatever you want to do, but don't put that blame on me at all, because it's not my fault. For me, I always try to really share the platform, especially on the panel with people that I can really trust or that I know more about. Someone says, African Tigress, please bring this sister back. Juliet, I know we've taken 3 hours and 30 minutes of your time. Would you, if I invited you back, would you come? Would you come back?
Of course.
All right, all right. Thanks, Juliet. We really appreciate your time and contribution to this platform. If anything else you wanted to add, how can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me quite easily. You can message me on WhatsApp on plus 220-240-5273 or 00220-240-5273. That's just without the plus. Or you can drop me a message via WhatsApp. And I usually get back to people. You have to give me a few days sometimes because I'm really busy. Sometimes I'll get back to you immediately because, you know, I'm actually dealing with emails and WhatsApps at the time. At the moment, I'm dealing with a lot of emails, so WhatsApp is the best method for me. I'm going through a lot of emails at the moment, so that I have to get back to everybody individually. I'd also like to say that the team for Blaxit is my husband, who I'd like to thank. He's so supportive and loving and great to me. So I want to thank my beautiful king, my king man, my husband, you know, my best friend. And I want to thank my children for always being supportive of me, all of my children. You know, I'm especially proud of all of them. And my brother for always helping me with the editing and the filming. And, you know, my youngest for always, you know, being there as a true ardent supporter. But my other two children, I miss them a lot, and I can't wait to have them here. So, you know, I want to thank all the Blaxit subscribers that come, you know, onto Blaxit and support Blaxit, and all the donors and Patreon supporters that support the channel, and those that have given us equipment to help us on our way. And, you know, I just want to thank yourself, you know, for allowing us onto your, you know, African Tigress platform, and allowing us to share, you know, our views. And, you know, not everybody's going to like what I have to say, but it's just my opinion, and you don't have to share it. And remember that my opinions are based on my experiences and nothing else. So your experiences, let them shape your decisions. My experiences shape my decisions, and I know that I had to come home. And so my last word to you is please, please, please find a way home. You know, Blaxit out of the West and come back to the best. And that is Africa. Relocate, repatriate. Okay? And just remember this, we all need love. We need to love each other and support each other. Black man needs black woman and black woman needs a black man. Yeah? And our black children need their parents. We need to guide them. We need to shelter them. We need to protect them. And we need to educate them at home first before they leave the house. And we need to make them proud to be Africans before they leave the house. So, yeah.
All right, Juliet, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and contribution. Hoping to host you soon so I can share. We can share more on issues of Africa and Africa diaspora on this platform. Thanks to everybody who has actually been part of this stream. Go ahead, check out Juliet's channel. It's Blaxit, Blaxit, BLS Go
Yes,
ahead.
space, BLA, space, XIT, BLA, and then a space, and then XIT. That's your gap to return. That's your door of return. You have to come back through that. That's your space to come back. So BLA and then XIT.
Yeah, so go check out her platform, support her. If you need any information about the Gambia, I think she's in the right position to actually advise you.
Yeah.
Somebody who's actually moved from the Gambia, starting life in the Gambia, and all that. So thanks to everybody who's been part of this platform. I've seen there's some people who've actually subscribed to my Patreon. In the past, I think yesterday and today, there are 4 people who subscribed, but I don't know what's changed with the Patreon platform because I can no longer get notifications, so I don't know exactly who it is. Apart from that, Eunice and Sarah, whom I can see, the other 3 people I cannot. It's actually 5 people. The other 3 people I cannot see you. Maybe you could drop me a message on my Patreon inbox, and I will be able to get back to you. So. You can as well, if you've been on this platform, you enjoy my content, go ahead, support my platform on Patreon. I do share content, like, sometimes YouTube regulates on the type of content you do. So I do share that content. And for those who are interested in East Africa and also learning Swahili as a bonus, I also do share Swahili lessons on my Patreon. So go ahead. I'm sharing the link in the stream as you're talking. Go ahead. Click on my Patreon, support my Patreon. That's Eunice and Sarah. That's the latest that I can see. I know Coco Zen. I know you support my platform on Patreon. I really appreciate. Let's grow our Patreon platform because at that place we are actually free to share as much as possible. So yeah, I think that's it. Let's meet tomorrow. Tomorrow, a number of you have been asking about, could you also host continental Africans? Because most of the time we have Africans in the diaspora participating. Today we had someone who was in the diaspora and has returned home. So tomorrow I'll be hosting, for the next 2 days, I'll be hosting 2 firebrand ladies that you would not love to miss. Like, those people who talk straight and they don't miss their words. Yeah, the next 2 days you'll be hosting some 2 ladies. So stay tuned, subscribe to this channel in case you're not subscribed. And yeah, let's meet tomorrow. Juliet, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, hon. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.